All right, thanks, Arun. Great job today. We'll take you right through to the close. Welcome to the close. Final 2 hours to go, guys, in a kind of choppy Monday. Back and forth we go for the indexes today. We are positive currently, right back to basically flat, though, here for the S&P. 0.16, 0.18 there for the Dow, the NASDAQ. Yeah, it's been one of those days, hovering around break even all day. Same story here in Toronto. For the TSX, Brazil is positive, crude oil to the downside, although that's well off the lows currently. Bitcoin and Ethereum having a nice day to kick off the week, extending gains from last week. Yeah, ASTR, big mover, currently was halted there. They scrapped their mission, and their launch was supposed to be today with T-0 until launch, apparently. Rocket full of satellites that was going to be their first launch ever gets scrubbed with no time left on the clock, and the stock instantly halted down. So it looks like we're open again, trying to get back higher for ASTR. Here we go. This is what's happening currently. I'll focus your attention over here first. NCLH, RCL, and CCL, big days, 8% for all three of them. Penn National here, MGM, some of the casinos, nice bounce back day for them as well. So consumer discretionary shares leading as far as the gainers are concerned. Here's the airlines, AAL, UAL, Alaska, Dow, all higher, Love even 2% on the Spirit news this morning. Boeing, even with a nice day. There was some individual news this morning on Boeing. Tyson Foods over here, TSN 11% still off a great earnings report. Higher meat prices they pointed to, signaling that that helped with their quarter. FB, yeah, we're going to talk about Facebook here, Meta. Just no bounce whatsoever today. It's just grinding to the downside once again. Netflix right beside it, 2.25%. There's Google down again, 2%. So some of the communication stocks under pressure here to end off the day. Yeah, I wanted to point out this, the energy group here, all positive, even with, as we saw, crude making moves still to the downside. Welcome. Guys, if you're joining us for the first time, we're on all day, so come back tomorrow and join us at 8:30 in the morning. We spent a few minutes to kick things off in the afternoon, reviewing some of the opportunities we had at the open this morning, 9:30. Neil's going to lead the day, or lead the way, I should say, today with a look back at one of his trades from the open this morning.
Thanks a lot, Brendan. We're going to talk about Funware today. They got a deal partnership with Project Nucleus. That's the catalyst here today. And the key thing is there were multiple trade opportunities, both within the range and then eventually breaking out of the range. And I'm happy with myself that I finally got one of these reversals, and we'll get into that. But got to start off on the higher time frame like we always do here. So got my 60-minute chart up because we have to go a couple of weeks back here to the last time we were trading in this range. You'll see this is our gap up this morning into the $3 range. Last time we were here, you had some pretty clean levels just above $3. You had a top, a bit of fail breakout, and then a top which caused a flush down into previous or recent support down around 2.25. And then you had this resistance point on the way up towards this 340 level. That's about 315, 316, and then you have the actual top at 337. So I've marked all those off because they all came into play here today. And this is the kind of thing that you want to always do. Whenever you have a stock which is moving, it's on your gap list, it's on your watch list or our watch list, zoom out, identify some key price areas so that you can formulate a bit of a plan, because there were multiple trade ideas for me here today, one of which I always like, pop, fail at the pre-market highs, which it had done at 315, and then the first consolidation lower was below that first target, that $3 mark that we pointed out in the chart. So my first shot was short this consolidation with a tight stop at 3. That breaks. I'm going right back out to that 315 level, 315, 316. That breaks. Two very tight stop trades. We then retest that high. And this is the key thing. We retest that high, show a consolidation failure. It's essentially almost the same setup that we're doing here. This time we actually get the win. It comes into VWAP, then we break that and get 295. Now here is the key thing, because one of my rules, or one of the things I wanted to do better in 2022 was when I identify a short setup that I like, if it shows me enough signs of strength, then where my stop is in the afternoon has to turn into a breakout trade. And the reason I like this breakout, and you're going to see we end up taking the 315 break long, is as simple as this. That 285, right here, our initial short trade, finds support at 285. It then does a false break at that high of the day, bases out at 285 again. So that pre-market level has held. Now, all of a sudden, when we get a working short off the high, this is now the third time technically that it's facing that 315, it flushes in and cannot even get to 285. Finds a higher low, retests a higher low, and that's what you're breaking out into. At that point, it's right in here that this turns into a reversal for me. If we broke in 285 and we're going parabolic into that level, I probably still think it's a fake because it's running too far. But it's showing all kinds of strength, grinding up into that 315 break. It eventually goes, and I still have a small portion of it, but we get some out in front of those quarters. And then where do we take that turnout? Like, we actually let it make the high and then get it out at what price? 337 up there, guys. So we looked at that previous high, say to myself, if it wants to put in a failure at that price level and starts curling there, if I wasn't long, that would be a potential short retracement entry point. And if I think that's true, then I'm going to be taking some profit out there right at that same point. You do see it pulls back. Might have been worth the reload to the long side, which I still have a small portion of as we're doing this. But at the end of the day, it's all about the reason for the reversal, getting away from what was not a great shorting it was a good shorting opportunity, but not a great short trade, into what was a nice, clean, long breakout. And sometimes you cannot get married to a direction in a stock, even if it's your primary setup. If there's something else that's profitable there, you've got to be able to take it. So that's one thing I'm trying to do better. Hopefully this helps out, and go fun in the afternoon.
Definitely. We will have a look at PHUN once again. Keep my eye on this Astra Space ASTR open again. We're trying to hold just below 5. All kinds of volume came in back to the upside when that reopened. That's the watch list, guys. If you're looking for absolutely free resource every single day, everything you need to know in the pre-market, what is moving and why, and then you come join us at 8:30. And we walk you through each one of them. Just saw a volume spike there, guys, on Nikola as well at 750, heads up. ASTR, though, down 8% here. Again, if you missed it, they scrubbed the launch. This would have been their first, FYI. The launch of their rocket full of satellites that was supposed to go off at 150, I think was the exact time it was supposed to happen today. So when that happened, halts down immediately. We open and go right back up. So more buy volume coming in. I just checked, like, this stock has a $1.3 billion market cap, and they haven't even had a launch yet, guys. That seems kind of crazy.
Well, market caps these days are crazy, is what you're trying
What?
to say there,
No.
Brendan? Yeah, no,
Reasonable.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at ASTR, but obviously when you get a fail like that, you are going to be in trouble. ASTR, let's go.
I'm literally just going to short it in front of 5 right now. Like,
now opened up. Yeah, where? How far did we? I mean, that's not even that far.
No, it's not.
So you're telling me that the news just came out here, 540, and it's only at 5. So I don't know. For me, it's a nothing trade here. You know, I'm not going to try to trade it. Like, I'd rather put on some risk, and in that situation, has to come up here to 570 or so to do something with it. We've already seen some of these highs. It is starting to go back down. You have an obvious out there of $5. So if you wanted to go short, just punch the offer if you can, or sit here and grab some 90s, because then you have your $5 staring you in the face. So I'd watch out for that. It's such an easy out right now. So if you have shares, there's no better trade or no easier trade right now, because you have an 11-cent worth of risk and a possible, breaking down here. So I like this trade. You just got to get the shorts, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I just jumped into it when I sat back down here. It's just, if it want, like Sean said, the halt price down is 484. And then it breaks 5 for like 2 seconds and comes right back down. So you have a stop at that recent high. You got bad news. Everyone can clearly see it's a bad catalyst. And then if it breaks the whole price down, a lot of times that can be a support break. And then you just work it down maybe like a 450 level. So risk to reward, I mean, that just seems pretty obvious. Now, clearly, like, this could be, if let's put a bull case in and just say why the stock could potentially go back to the upside. Well, if you halt a launch like they did last minute, okay, then you're averting a potential disaster, right? So what you could be doing in this situation is, by halting, I guess foregoing a lot longer of a delay until when they do something successful, because they get out in front of a problem, right? So I guess that's your possible positive spin to this. I don't necessarily know any details here. Brendan just brought us the story. I just see that setup and say, okay, that's a reasonable amount of risk. I'm going to probably put that trade on in just about anything that halts down with a negative catalyst such as this. If it's going to give you that opportunity, sometimes it's too obvious and it might lose, but the risk to reward is pretty solid there. We'll keep tracking this name. If it breaks back out and goes anywhere near its high of the day, I think that's an obvious fade. I just can't see any reason why it should trade at its high of day.
It's might be telling there. Volume already dying off on that, but we'll keep an eye on it. I mentioned Nikola with a volume spike there. It came down to that previous low. I guess it was 750, and they bought it back up above 750. So not much to see for Nikola. Let's talk Peloton, guys. As we were saying in the pre-market, might be not much to do about anything on the trade side of this anyways, until anything a little more firm is announced. Obviously, Amazon rumored to be involved, Nike rumored to be involved. A lot of people whispering Apple may be involved as well. But as expected, I guess, stock gaps up and just fades all day.
I don't think much. I mean, I've been trading Peloton a lot here today. And this is the sucky part right here when we got out at 28, because we were willing to take this all the way back to the upside. It's just every single dollar kept breaking to the downside. It's now only up 18%, which, you know, for Peloton shareholders should be, you know, rejoiced a little bit. You came in today on the pre-market touching $33, $34. I was thinking we were going higher, but it looks like you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait for that some sort of a deal confirmation. Obviously, once the deal comes through, it's going to be too late. But it's faded in pretty much all afternoon until we finally found a level there at $28. So for me, we're short again against this $29.50. I feel like if the market does come back in, we are long Facebook, we're long Microsoft, we're long Palantir, we're still long Funware as well off the open. But yeah, Peloton's just been pretty nasty to the downside. If we zoom in just a little bit, I mean, that's the level where we stopped. And honestly, like, we just got stopped out when it broke through 28. This is exactly what we were waiting for, was this 28 defense level. But unfortunately, it breaks it by 8 pennies and we get out. So lesson learned on that one. But Peloton right now, we're going to try to play the short, see if we can retest that 28 and see if we get one of those little wicks again off the bottom. But right now, we're short Peloton, and we're just going to see if this name wants to work. But short 29.02 right now after a couple profits and a couple averages in here. But right now, this is against us 20 cents. So we are out if it breaks 29.50, which is this spot right here. So let's see if it works. Normally, I'm long on these names. We're going to go short today right now and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard after this morning not to be thinking about the reversal there, especially that 30 level. Like every long this morning for me on Peloton was scalp out and then stop out. And that just happened multiple times, happened at that 32 level. It then happened, in front of the 30 even as well. It would give you a bit of a turn. You get like 50 cents, maybe even a little bit more than that, and then we just get a harsh reversal. Anytime you have deal speculation like this, until it's something firm, there's a lot of times that the news gets sold. The thesis on why I thought it would be a long bounce was simply that, well, it's put in support since it got crushed, like double bottom at 23. So maybe that would get some confidence. But really, that's a big channel, 23 to 28. So should have expected that maybe it would come all the way back down. It gets to 30. I'm thinking, it gets up to this 30 level. It's been a double bottom there, back up to VWAP. That's where I was looking to short this one in the afternoon. Just sort of give it to like 30.50, which was a double bottom in the morning. That's about 50 points of risk if you get to that 30 level. Otherwise, I might just sit this one out for the rest of the afternoon. I mean, I got a few holdovers from this morning. I got a reload in Alibaba just before we came on, actually, that got back up to that 116. So there is a heck of a lot moving here. And then, of course, add Astra, later on. And one of the reasons why, like, anything can come of that Astra story. One of the reasons why I like that tight stop trade is, if something, I have a stop in at that 5. So if something happens and there's an update this afternoon, I don't have to worry about it. Like, that's clearly going to make it stop, break through 5 even, or if it's negative, it's just going to flush through that previous halt price. So, inside of that range made it so clean.
I was almost surprised. I saw somebody talking about Peloton, guys, and I almost surprised and agreeing with them that story wasn't written into SNL or Billions or something on the weekend, because they've obviously been down that road before. It seemed like a no-brainer. CFEI, Rumble SPAC, still trying here to go to the upside, back to day highs anyways. We're around the 17.5 again. Here's the note that kicked off this crazy move today. Just so everyone, if you haven't seen it, that's it. So they're offering him $100 million and 4 years to come over to Rumble from Spotify, I guess. Yeah, maybe if needed, or maybe not if needed, or either or. But yeah, big day for CFEI here on that.
I like that. This is our chance to save the world. So will Joe Rogan save the world and move over to Rumble, or will he stay on Spotify? I mean, look, CFEI, I've traded Fun. We could talk about that. I'm in the same position I've been in all day one time. That'll be a profitable stock for me here today, but we definitely missed CFEI. I guess that was around 11 o'clock when that started because it was just cruising. We traded CFEI last week. This is always like the undercover play that I like to go to when we get, DWAC moving or Funware moving. I guess it's not undercover anymore as it's been a nice move to the upside. And look, if you ever, whatever your opinion is on Joe Rogan, on Spotify, on Rumble, whatever, I mean, he's a big get. No matter what. So, I mean, it's kind of like, reminds me of back in the day when there was only like one personality, Howard Stern, and like Sirius satellite radio stock was basically just moving based on if not, Howard Stern would re-sign with them. So I'm kind of thinking that this is a dangerous game to play because I don't know what he's getting paid from Spotify, but I'm pretty sure that's close to guaranteed money. And I don't know if that deal with CFEI, what kind of money these guys have to throw at talent like that. But hey, it's a move in the right direction for Rumble. Obviously, it's still a SPAC, so this thing could still fall back down to $10. I don't think that's going to happen. So I mean, I'm a buyer of CFEI here, honestly. It's breaking out right now. If that's a story that interests you, I think it has legs. I mean, I look at it from like a Joe Rogan standpoint and just say to myself, like, do you really want to continuously fight what's been happening on Spotify with artists leaving and this and that? And he's in the right. I mean, he's just doing his thing. So I'm not going to sit here and go political, but, CFEI does have its merits, and if Spotify is going to like watchdog some of their talent, then I don't blame some of them for saying like, see you later, I'm going to try somewhere else. I just wonder if it's a real story. I mean, it's a real story, but is Joe Rogan actually considering this?
That's the real question.
And if he is, then I think it's a buy. Because like I said, we know he has his minions and he has his followers. And, it is what it is. Like, the first time I heard of Joe Rogan was from you guys. And I've never listened to a podcast of his, but I do know that he's very influential, so.
I mean, it's just if it's real, if there's a real chance that he does it, then it's just, like it is a buy. There's just almost no question about it for CFEI. I'm a little bit skeptical whether he would. The merits of Rumble, if they add someone like him, is a big deal. We know what kind of a catalyst you mentioned with Howard Stern, back in the day. Like you've seen what this can do. I'm mad at myself for writing this off when it had that. Like it was right after we finished the morning show that you got the spike into 16 and it pulled back. And when it retook the previous high at 1485, I was like, okay, well, it looks like it might be a little bit done for the day. It might not have any more juice in it. And the volume just started tapering off. And then it wasn't until like right at 1 o'clock, it spiked back up and you missed the 16 break. At this point, it's a bit rich, but at the same time, like you make a wick high at 18 like this, and it hasn't broken back below this 1680. It just feels like if it holds that, there's an inevitable run for that high of the day possibly coming again. So, am I willing to go long on a break of the high of the day? I almost think like you have to if the volume has not gone away from this thing. But until that happens, you're looking for a retest of 1680. And if that breaks, 16 is so obvious just because that was that top at 11. And that's where it broke out and found support. It's also right in front of VWAP. So, I could definitely see this thing could drop 10% or almost 10% into that 16 level and still catch itself a bid. You throw on top of that's right in front of the previous high. There's all kinds of reasons why, buying the dip makes a heck of a lot of sense here. And this is obviously not something that's going away today. Like this is going to likely have legs for the next week.
Even with the overall market here kind of choppy back and forth. I mean, I just saw the Russell up almost 1%, S&P basically flat, NASDAQ trying anyways as well. Snowflake here, guys, still holding on to a pretty good day off of the Morgan Stanley upgrade this morning we mentioned in the pre-market. 300, though, gets tested again, and looks like we're failing, just letting go of VWAP. But still, big day here for Snow.
Yeah, so we went over, so I haven't even looked at Snowflake, to be honest with you. I mean, I was watching and not looked at it to trade because I'm in Palantir, and we'll review Palantir today. It's been a good stock for me for sure. Big moves to the downside right now on a 1-minute chart, but that's just off this 301. This is kind of an interesting area here between 300 and 301. Wish we would have saw that. this is the kind of setup that we're looking for when you break certain levels. It's like there's a 300 break down to the downside there and maybe continuing to go, and there's 301 top. So yeah, that's a big breaking spot there, but now we're starting to head back to the downside on Snowflake. I still like it up 8%. I think that's a little too rich now for, again, one of those companies with the high growth and the high PEs and the valuation and so on and so forth. They've been hit pretty good from 400 down to 240, so almost chopped in half, similar to my boy over here, Palantir, which has been chopped in half. Well, similar, I guess almost exactly the same. $29 down to 13, so Palantir's been hit a little bit more. We just took today as a day to trade long Palantir. So long into there and then long back here into that same move. So we go long Palantir. We're almost out of it, 20, 40, 60, 80. No, sorry, 10, 20, 30, 40, 60, 80. We only have 20% left of this 30% of this Palantir trade left. But I'm going to keep defending these 12.95 bottoms, and that's my trade on Palantir. But Snowflake's been good. They caught the upgrade. You're up that 8%. It's nice, fading back in. We were up almost 10% or probably 10% at its highs. But there's that typical move where you get going right early and then it just gets faded down. So people come in, they want to buy Snowflake through that 300. They do that. They only get it as high as 305. So for me, I'm a buyer of Snowflake, never, because I'm already into Palantir.
Yeah, this is one that it got away from us this morning because we were looking for the dip, and we sort of talked about it. 285 was the support area. And that was just the pre-market lows. And what I liked about it, it was breaking out into a new range, about like this 287 if you look at the daily chart. And then it actually gave you, like right at 9:30, it does that top breakout. And this is one of the things about 2022 is still in that mode of not taking breakouts and looking for dip buys, which is, the last quarter of last year, that was just the way to go. And it feels like maybe you got to take some of these because the same thing ended up happening this morning when we were looking at, it was Tyson Foods, and it was the same thing that happened. It was looking for more of a dip, thinking, okay, in that case, it was positive earnings. You'll get some kind of a sell going into the open, and then you'd be able to defend a level, and then it would shoot up. It doesn't make the dip until 11:45, and at that point, that's not usually a trade I'm looking for because 300 was the target. It breaks and fails at 300 and then comes back into 85. That's not usually the test that I was looking for. But yeah, it just tells me that for some of these plays, it might be back on to just simply take the breakout trade when you're getting into a near range. So that's a lesson learned for me here on Snow. Great for them, the upgrade. It kind of makes sense when you get some of these names, the higher valuation names that get beaten a little bit down here. They're getting into that zone where you're going to start to see some upgrades, and some analysts start to say, hey, this one has gone down too far. This other one is going to start to turn, or it's going to be a value here. So we're going to see a lot of those coming up, and taking some of those breakouts has to be back in the toolbox.
All right, pretty impressive day, or a couple of days, I should say, for Meta, Facebook. The daily chart is just unreal. $100 basically straight to the downside over the past 3-4 days off that earnings miss. I mean, even 330 up here, down to almost 220 here. So 4.5% again today. I mean, there's not much of a bid yet, guys. What do we think here for FB?
Yeah, so I mean, it would have been, we were battling between Funware and, Funware right now, yes, sir. Spin it. Money right now for Funware to try and take out the top right here. There it goes. Let's go Funware. One in for me. And this is what we're saying. Neil had a couple different plays. One in and hopefully multiple, well, it'll be another out, 2 outs at some point here for Funware. We're going to hold that all day as it's trying to break through some of the highs right now. But you talked about Facebook, so let's go over to Meta. I have 87 fills on Facebook today, so not proud of that, so don't get that twisted here. I wish we had less. And I mean, what I was going to do if this was going to be the trade of the day was be as brutally honest as possible with everybody, and that is that you have to wait. You have to wait for Facebook to come in. If you keep doing this, you're going to lose every day. It's trending, and you got to catch the trend or else you're screwed. And I mean, here we started the day wanting to defend that 237. So if you look back right here, here's 237 on Friday, this bottom, right? So we took it in the pre-market and we got $1. That was nice, right? Not many shares. So then when it breaks that 237, we're like, okay, well now we're going to use 235 as our out. right? But then it just kept on coming down, 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 down. And then we don't take it out at 235. We actually get more in at 235. So this is like the definition of basically how not to trade this name. And then it comes all the way back down. And then eventually we're like, oh, okay, we're going to get out at this 233 area. Sorry, this 233 breaking area. But look what they all look the same. Here's 234, here's 235, here's 233. And they all just kept on breaking. So ultimately, that was a bad trade right there because it's an average down price and we lose $2 or $3 on that trade. But then it started to make a little bit of sense as we found a level, 230, which was the past, oops, that's 290. I got to find a 20-minute chart here. That 230 was the past. Wow, this 20-minute chart, that's not 20 minutes, is it? Yeah, it must be. Wow, nasty. That 230 was right here. So it goes back to Friday, and we weren't breaking 230. Then all of a sudden, it breaks. So cue up the 1-minute chart. Then it breaks, and then we get out right there, 229.50. So out of all this money being made, we give it back. And then we're like, oh, we're going to go long again. Boom, 228, out again, 227. So it's just like dollar cuts like a knife, cuts like a knife, all the way down. And then finally, finally, we start picking up some longs here down at 225. And then once 225 breaks, we kind of say that's enough. And then we're going to wait for 224. And again, we're kind of doing the same mistakes here, but we get a little lucky. And when we get lucky, we definitely have to take advantage of that. So there's one out on the 225 break like we talked about. Then we buy and we buy again. And then there's a 226.50. There's a 226.50 again. And right now we're breaking below, so we should probably get out. The good news is we only have like 10% left of this trade. So, you know, we took most of it out here, made some money back. It is going to be a bad stock for me, and we'll flush ourselves down the toilet. But again, like the fact that we're negative on this, I'm fine talking about it. Neil will go ahead and talk about it in a minute, but made some decent money on Microsoft, and we'll talk about why we waited for that one. And there goes Funware as well. Crushing that name right here up to 340.
Yeah, high daybreak on Funware, that 340 level. There's not a lot of size. It's like 35,000 shares on the offer, so that's nothing. It's about to cross 100 million if it hasn't already crossed 100 million on the day. So, I mean, with Facebook, I talked about this with Funware and we just said, I had to find ways to, do reversals. Like Sean was only long Funware. I like to fade some of those. So the only way to get it back after losing on the shorts in Fun was to go into the long trade. And I feel like at this point in the morning, right here, when we finished the show at 11, I took a fill at 232 for like the 5th time, taking a scalp trade for profits. And at this point, Facebook was my best stock on the day. It then consolidates again and breaks 230, and I should have reversed into the short trade. Like for all of the reasons why Fun was a reversal into the long at 315, 316, Facebook should have been a reversal into the short at 230. I didn't do it. I get stopped out. I then try at the bottom here and take another hit on Facebook. And it just goes to show, like sometimes you've got to be willing to say go in the other direction. I wasn't. I don't mind going back into the long at 220, 225 or trying the long there. I think just about anybody, if you're day trading in a level like that, you're going to go for it. But it just needed to be a reversal at 230 there. That would have changed the litmus on the day. Certainly, I don't think we're going to, in the rundown here, talk about BOVESPA. So just to give a quick little update, I didn't get the reload. I basically only shorted off this 116 on Alibaba, and that's the only level you really needed. The disappointing part about BOVESPA is it broke the low, and I thought was going to head a little bit closer to the middle of the 110 to 114 range down to 112, and it hasn't done that. But it has been giving you scalp trades all day long off of this. At some point, just like Funware there, when you hold these levels like this and higher lows get put out, if it takes out the top, it can get bullish. Now, the reason I don't favor a reversal long is mostly because you have 1650. Like it's not like Funware, which is taking out the high of the day. You have the 1650 from the open range, which still hasn't been taken out. You then have multiple levels in the pre-market that would have to get taken out. So it's not quite as clean a reversal, but I would get out at 116 on Alibaba. Down, but it looks like the selling is abating.
All right, wanted to mention what is to come the remainder of the week, guys, because a few people discussing the fact that, there's not a heck of a lot of movement here in the overall market, and this could be why. Coming up on Thursday, we'll get that next kind of hurdle, as we were talking about this morning, if you joined us, when it comes to inflation, interest rate hikes to come, obviously, in March. But here's the cues. So the NASDAQ almost exactly flat as I'm speaking about this. So a lot of people discussing just the simple fact today, guys, that the market went up, we tested higher, we came all the way back down to basically Friday's closing range, and now we're trying to get stuck in the middle, it would appear. Positive nonetheless for the overall market, but might be a wait and see kind of a day here ahead of Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm still pretty, bullish on everything. And I mean, we take, again, you got to be very, very patient. There goes Microsoft right now. Yeah, buddy. Up to 305. This is a $2.50 win now for Softy. One clean entry, and we still have it, trying to take this out. And we have $3 now in the money for Facebook. And we bought some more basically down here on our own account as well today. So we're pretty happy with Facebook's move back to the upside right now. And I just feel like the market's not done. I mean, look, it's baked in. It's baked in right now, honestly. I mean, if the market wants to go down and was really scared at all about these interest rate hikes and tapering and all that, there's smart people involved when you're talking about indexing and you're talking about buying ETFs and putting risk on and off. And I mean, sure, there's a lot of dumb people involved as well. But at the same time, they know. I mean, you could call up the Fed rate funds tool right now, and it's 100% basically for 50 points in March. And then it's almost 100% for a raise up until then, after then until I think it was 2024, something like that. So, they are expecting a lot of raises here in the market. And honestly, if the Qs and the NASDAQ, if everybody already knows about all this, then what are we really waiting for? So, I mean, I think it's time to buy up right now. All the major cap tech names have already reported, and pretty strong too, to be honest with you. I mean, Microsoft's was great. Apple's was great. Google's was outstanding. What else is there? I mean, we've already talked about Meta today. Obviously, all the DeFi and the buy now, pay never stocks have been bad.
Was good.
AMD was great. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty bullish about the market at these levels, and I don't think it's wrong to start nibbling.
Yeah, this is the thing. Look, we might be, you're right, Brendan, you're right that we might be waiting around to break out of the range until we get some of that data this week. But at the same time, I don't think anyone is surprised anymore. It would take something, I would say, rather extraordinary on that inflation print. We did have that jobs report, which came super strong, which I guess you could say spooked the markets, because then that would mean, if that end of the spectrum of the Fed's responsibilities or mandate is taken care of, then that would lend themselves to being a little bit more aggressive with some of the tapering. It's just not a heck of a lot that, if people think they could, once you started hearing the talk about every single meeting there could be a rate hike, right? Once that happened, it's like, well, how much worse could it be? Well, the runoff's going to go faster than expected. Well, guess what? They have to stop buying bonds before they can start letting it run off. So that time frame is going to be pretty obvious. The 10-year is running higher, and we're not exactly doom and gloom. That's the other thing. We get a run to the 1.9 in the 10-year, and we don't do anything in the overall market. We barely even have a weekday here today. So it does feel like we're in that zone, and maybe we have a few earnings that could be interesting this week. I think, like Sean said, all the big ones are done. We just could be waiting for this breakout to happen. But if you look at the NASDAQ here, we get through this previous resistance point for the last couple of days, and yeah, you could see a solid break back up and above that 15,000. You just have to be willing to trade within the range until we get there, because that's what we've been seeing. We have a clear resistance level that we're having trouble getting through, and with the data coming out this week, there could be some hesitancy to buy into it.
We're talking market reversals today, and also, as a result, individual stock reversals as well. A lot of people kind of get caught in that trending type of environment, and though it's easy and makes a lot of sense on a day trading time frame, we also have to be open to the fact that, guys, the market can start the day going up and end the day going down very, very sharply. So we have to be nimble and be able to move on our feet. So let's talk about some ideas for market reversals.
Absolutely. And look, when we talk about reversals, I think sometimes you like to use extreme examples, right? So I'm going to go to a name from last week that we traded, Bill. And there was probably nothing. I mean, I know Snapchat was up 60% on Friday when we were talking about it, but Bill was just as strong on earnings, and it didn't require volatility previous to that. But you have something which was in a clean monster uptrend. Just look at this consolidation. This is a daily chart up here, 155. You have 3 green days, slight pullback, off of $200, 150 to 200, slight pullback, and then just breaks back outside. And then what we had on Friday was just an absolute consolidation in the morning off that 200 level, and then just a very clean, linear, gradual move into the upside. Now, what I want to talk about here is once you've missed out on a long like this, and look, it's the week before 150 to 200. That's a huge move. 200, you're getting a 10% move here to 220 when it consolidates. It then consolidates in the afternoon, 230. It's hard to chase something like that going long at the top. I get it. You can buy high, sell higher, playing that trend. But at some point, you have to say to yourself, okay, the best risk-reward trade might just be in the reversal. And that's where, I wanted to lead by showing you guys that 15-minute chart. But if you look at what happened in the afternoon consolidation, is you had what looked like a potential rollover and then a last move which went parabolic. And what I want to talk about is taking a consolidation break sometimes requires you to wait until everyone's been stopped out. And maybe it's because I was short this earlier, had some success, and then it eventually stopped it out. And then you had that 230 break, and then it goes afternoon parabolic into 240. New territory for the stock. Already up a good 40% if you look at some of the previous breakouts on the 15 level. And then you had this very tight consolidation at the top. Multiple breaks of the 240 level right at even. It's back and forth over and over again. And then right after 3 o'clock, so right into power hour, you have it break the top end of the range. Now, the key thing about this trade is it gives you an obvious in when it breaks the top consolidation. You're only taking this in power hour at the end of the day. And then your out is going to be up at the top. And the logic behind it would be it's monster returns for any day trader long at that 200 level. It's monster returns for anyone swinging this off of 150 maybe a couple of weeks ago. So you're going to trigger some stops or trailing stops on the way back in, especially going into the afternoon. And the best part about it is you've only got a couple of dollars worth of risk to that high of the day. You know that if it starts going, there's some nice consolidation points. This is about like $4 in the money, and then you go down to about like 8 to 10, so the risk reward is going to be good. But the key thing is allowing it to break out multiple times and go parabolic, and then show a long consolidation near that close. That's what gives you that reversal in Bill.
All right, so we're talking about market reverse. That's a great example there with Bill and a big-time high flyer there. And what about just trading it on AMD? So, let's talk about maybe now more of like day trade, kind of like scalping. Bill, you can hold on for bigger moves. Well, it's kind of the same thing. So let's just do that quickly. We call these the wick-off bottoms. You can look this up. There's, chart patterns, different things to try to find that. And what I'm looking for is maybe I can just maximize this quickly here and zoom in just quick. So this is the pattern, and we've talked about this a couple times on this show before, and that is that you get a pretty big trend to the downside, right? And what you're doing is you're trying to find names, and the reason why I highlight AMD here is it's a name that we want to go long on, especially in a weak market. If we're expecting a bounce back, AMD's been super strong. They've reported, and I think a lot of the news is out of this stock, Xilinx, so on and so forth. But the first thing is identify the stock on a bounce, right? You may not do this on a meta or something that's just been absolutely falling down, but if you look here, as we zoom back a little bit, AMD, it's been pretty, the trend's been pretty much to the upside here all last day, and then today was pretty good until you get this trend reversal, and you're going to see that spike right down there. So let's quickly talk about that. Here it comes to the downside, right? And what you're actually looking for is a low break, which this is the low of the day. You have a wick there, bottom would have worked to go back up. There's a wick again, there it goes back up, but then you take out these wicks and then you make a new one at the bottom. Now, the important thing is, and I hope you can see this a little bit, let me just put this volume up a little bit more here, that's a little bit better. So now, the thing about this wick, not really followed by an increased amount of volume, neither is this one, but this wick bottom right there at 124 was followed by volume. So a big sell, it breaks that 124, which happens to be an even dollar level. So you see the wick break to the downside, and then explosion to the upside. So it's trying to identify this on large volume volume. And the best part about this is you take that wick there at 78. You're never going to get the bottom, but you just look for that level that created it. So how about 124? You take that long and it's $2 straight to the upside. That is going long. And if you find that, that's one thing. One more here on a name that's obviously bumping like crazy today, CFVI. I'm just going to show it the other way, okay? And here it is right here again. So you can see the momentum. It's the exact same trade. So let's zoom this back out again. Zoom it in, I guess. Here's CFVI today up 38%. Pretty clear as day on the momentum, right? And then all of a sudden, you're getting the highest volume. Besides, this is not even today, that's the other day. The highest volume candle today is right here on these spikes to the upside. This actually continues a little bit more, but again, it's the 18 break. So you're not too interested until this breaks 18 back. So identify the trend reversal with high volume, breaking through key levels, take it back. This one stops at the 50 period, but it gives you that dollar. So now you're looking for something similar. And this is real time. So if it takes out the top here, which it does, you can see there's really no wick top there. So I wouldn't have reversed that to the downside. It would have worked, but again, no wick off top there. So wick off top on CFVI, and then here's AMD with the other way around on the bottom. High volume spike, trend change, there it is. So I think that's two good examples of wick off tops and wick off bottoms.
So whether you're looking at a news catalyst on a higher time frame, on an investment possibly, or an investment opportunity, or even on an intraday time frame, guys, you have to be aware that the market doesn't always just go in one direction. So a couple of great ideas there for market reversals. Lots of people talking about NVCT today. IPO going back to Friday. This was 3.2, I believe, or 3.3 million shares on the IPO, a little tiny pharma stock. I mean, yeah, 200%. I mean, it's more about the float here, obviously, but you got to be super careful here, guys. This thing's trading $1 at a time, but still trying to go higher for NVCT.
Multiple shots at it, and I'll be up on the day. Of course, Facebook should be my best stock, but like I said, I didn't reverse to the short and tried the long again off 225 and lost. But this one has required some care because there has to, if there's no clean stop, you should really only be in the long, trending wise anyways. But it made a turn at $8, which we profited from, went back to that well. And one of the reasons why I'm up in the stock is I actually didn't give that short the second time at 750. I didn't actually even give it back to the high of the day. It was just so strong that when it broke this consolidation, and if I can zoom in and quickly show you guys here, like when I was short this about 750 before, it had this lower high right at 7.25. So when I reloaded at 750 in front of a 780 high, and then suddenly a buyer stepped up at that same 7.25 that was previous resistance, I didn't even mess around. I just got the heck out of that thing and said, that's kind of bullish. Now, clearly, that possibly could have signaled a reversal, but it all happened pretty fast and then jammed to the upside. I didn't get back in till 9 in front of 950. That was okay till it stopped me out. Then I got back into the consolidation when it failed at 10. That stopped me out at the high. And then it was this, as Sean said, wick off top. And if I see, like we see these in traders, you're gonna take advantage of it. So it runs stops at 10. And then slams right back down and consolidates. I'm always going to re-enter. Re-entered at 9.75, worked it down to $8, and then my last 20% trailed me out here. And guess what? We're retesting $10 once again and pulling back. But this is super strong. The failure through $10 got to 10.35, so a 10.50 probably has to break until you've really taken out this 10 level convincingly. Until that happens, I think you can at least fade it off that level as long as you have a hard stop either at the high of the day or a 10 or a 10.50. And if it gets past 10.50, I could see the stock halting. One last note on it is only one halt, despite how crazy this name has moved. And I said this in the morning and when I came on in the midday show as well. But several times on the way up both to 8 and on the way up the second time, it would get to a halt band or look like it was about to go into a halt. Within the 15 seconds, trade down by a few cents just long enough so that it would move the band higher and then start running again. Almost as if someone was doing that on purpose so that it wouldn't halt to the upside. That's just speculation on my part, but I can tell you it was resisting halts. And I could see the same thing possibly happening again on a 10 break. So if it were to break this new high and get to 11 to 11.5 and then go into a halt state, I'd anticipate that it could do one of those fake outs at that halt price.
We just took, it was NVCT. I haven't traded it today, but we'll hit this because our last trade here on Facebook is going to make a little bit of money. Obviously, we've talked about it. We're down on this name today, but there's $3 right there on the last piece, and we only have 10%, so it's not big. Actually, it's not the last piece. We have one more piece to go, but again, just one of those failures today, not holding on to enough shares at the bottom. So whatever. There goes Facebook all the way to the upside. Like, we could have no problem losing money on the way down, but then on the way back up, like, I see profits, and I just like take, which is scalping, which is fine. $2 in the money on Softy, $3.50 in the money now on Facebook, 6 cents in the money on Palantir. These are all positive stocks. Facebook not, obviously. Funware, 35 cents in the money. And then right now, Peloton, although we keep battling this 29.50 area, looks like it wants to break it once and for all. We just took a net, so we got out and then we got back in on that wick off top again. We tried to follow our own rules there. But again, look at the trend upside. We take the wick and it actually works perfectly. We get 44s, it goes right down to 20 again. I just thought Peloton was gonna break. So, and again, just not reading some of the stuff because I'm hella long. And then, you know, for when I'm short Peloton, I'm just like, hey man, if I'm gonna be short something and the market does collapse, I wanna be able to appreciate Peloton to the downside. And just right now, not working out for me on the downside. And I do want to say something to D Queen because she's giving some super chats here. I have no idea what this means. I mean, how companies switch companies, employer. I mean, I'm guessing, D Queen, that you're upset about some sort of an employer here, but with utilities and never pay, yeah, always pay your bills is all I can say for right now. And if you're with an employer that refuses to pay utility bills, then yeah, maybe you're with the wrong employer, but I'm not going to give. I have no idea. I have no idea about that, but thank you, D Queen, for the super chat. We'll put that to fine work around here as we're getting very close to setting up new studio right now with Trader Pratt and Arun to come through on the midday show. So that's going to be a good setup here. Equal looks. So the way our show looks is also going to be the way the midday show looks. So we're really proud of that and working hard to get that up for you as well. But it's Brendan Wickens.
ASTR, there was, this just came out, but I don't see anything significant here. Teams are reviewing, I guess, was added to this. So they're just saying, yeah, it was scrubbed with basically no time left on the countdown. And they just added that. But there was a little volume that came back in there on the upside when that was released, guys, for Astra.
Yeah, look, I structured that trade, and then of course there was a wick off top, and we just talked about these, right? So there was a wick off top at 5. I didn't get back into it. I probably should have, but I went over and reloaded Alibaba of all things. But that's what you get. Like, you get those stops run. To me, it was an obvious stop level, which sometimes can mean stops get run and then it rolls over. That's the other side of the coin there. But to me, I'll risk that 10, 15 cents just about every single chance I get. You don't have to jump back in and reload it, although in this case, I think it obviously would have worked here, as we just pointed out. I wanted to talk about just Bakkt was on the move this morning. Whoops, I always get it wrong. Bakkt is on the New York, Neil. This was on the move this morning. I haven't actually made a trade in it, but just looking at some names here that are sort of running towards these highs. Bakkt was just on the verge of breaking back out at $5.90, $6 before pulling back into VWAP. And hey, these wick-offs work in both ways. Look what happened at 550. It sort of broke this level, stalled at VWAP, and then made a bit of a turn here back towards the upside. So BKKT, sometimes it's about where it's come from so much as where it's going as well. But in the midst of a nice breakout already at that $5 level, and then trying to take out the high here, I would caution, the reason I'm pulling back to 15 minutes is that you can see, if you break this top, you do have some wick highs at that 625 and then back at like 670, 660, 670 that you got to work with. But showing some signs of strength on BKKT there. Alibaba has been good, but as I mentioned, at some point it might break out here. So I am getting out of this trade at 116. I'm not reversing into the long. That's not going to be in the cards for me. I want to keep it positive with this name and not fight it. I'd love to see the market come back here. And we've talked about Funware. We've talked about CFVI. We haven't shown you DWAC, which had a good reversal at 95, second time not so much. But guess what's getting real close? 100. I shorted at 90 and stopped out. I shorted at 95 and that worked. I shorted at 95 again and that stopped out. Well, I shorted at 100, absolutely 100%. I should have had the long off of the 90 level right at about lunchtime. It's pretty good. You get those lower highs that get held. Sorry, those those higher lows that get held all afternoon, and it sets up for a break. So that did fall into that category. But at this point, you can't worry about the trades you missed. Work on what's going to be next. And it looks like what's next is 100 even. That just stands out. It's too much of a level psychologically not to try a shot at it. But first, it has to actually break this 97 high of the day, which does sit in no man's land.
Who next? So you got to wait.
I'm the undisputed heavyweight champion.
Yeah, who next? Who next?
You know how old that video is?
30? I don't know.
Oh my
more?
goodness.
Okay, so just an update here. We like to hold things forever, obviously, and then this happens. See ya. But so we're not gonna do that for funware. I know DWAC, and it just topical right now. I know DWAC's moving, so fun. If you notice, it's taking this 50 period all the way. So if it takes it out the other side, we're gonna get out, and it gives us a 330 out right now. So again, funware, we're in at 3. We took half out at 315, and we haven't been aggressive with it. The only trade that I feel like I missed was right here, taking the long on that break to the upside, because again, we identified 315 early, and we waited for it. We had to go through all of this, and we had to wait for that to get 15 lousy cents. But again, I know you guys are trading this with more shares, so just watch out, especially if it takes 315 to the downside. You may want to get out and then consider reloading somewhere in here sub 3. But for right now, if it does come back, and look, we're day traders, right? So it's 250. So Neil and I have approximately an hour left to hold these trades. So I don't know what fund's going to do in the next hour, 10 minutes. If it wants to keep going to the upside, hey, I'm here and I have no offers, but I do have a stop order to get out. So we take out 330. I'm going to get out on the downside because, as some people say, we never go broke taking profits. I don't love that saying because you got to take profits at some point. But when a trade lines up, I feel like it's silly not to do that. So there it is right there, 330. I'm going to be out, and it's just because I only have that one in and one out there on funware. So I just don't want this to go back and turn out to be a negative stock for me.
Yeah, and another name that I am watching heavily, and someone had a question about this earlier on Snapchat, and I was sort of just talking about what's going on with this stock, because it was nothing. Look, Thursday and Friday, there wasn't a more volatile name in the entire market, and today has been the absolute opposite of that. And I expected a heck of a lot more. I did have a couple of shorts, and we were able to get the bottom here on one of those shorts, but it just feels like this might need to settle down for a couple of days after the crazy action that we had. And if you start to think about the potential for the stock, like look at this. Essentially, this is at 38 level from the morning on Friday, right? Like at 37 held, but then the second move and the breakout at 38 was the big one on Snapchat, and that's actually held up pretty well. That 37 to 38 channel was one wick breaking 38, and then it went to 37.5 and then turned on a dime. And if you look at what this looks like on the chart, making that consolidation, and think about on the daily that you have the most recent high here, that 44 level, it just feels like to me, you hold that 37 to 38 level, you've got upside to 44, but the day trade, you have to wait for almost a break. So you're either swinging this or waiting for it to break back out, which means $40 has to go. And it's just shown almost no desire to get there, which is incredibly disappointing. Like for all the world, I was like, man, I can't wait to get back at Snapchat. I feel like we learned a lot about the way that it moved. And then it's just not going anywhere today. So you've got to be able to back off some of these names. I will briefly mention Zila. Hopefully just only once or twice this morning. I missed the break higher because it never got to 95 or got to $1, so I didn't short it till it broke down and consolidated. That was at 88. That's the only fill I got. As a matter of fact, why am I even still on the offer of this thing? It has yet to flush and fill down at 80. It has yet to push higher, so I'm just sort of sitting in this at 88, looking for it to break a little bit lower. It's 3 points in the money, which isn't a heck of a lot. It's not exciting either. This could make a run at $1 at some point this week. Until that happens, I'll play the lower levels here. First, we're shorting 88 off 90, and then probably at some point 95 even. We'll be in funware as well, and I thought DWAC, like I said, I'll wait for 100. Right now, it looks like this is still trying to pull back a little bit, but the breakout can come at any moment. Don't take your eye off any of these. That includes CFVI, which did just pull back off of 1850. But guess what? Still hasn't broken 16 even. I like the idea of, look, you look at that high, you look at that consolidation. I think there should be some support in the 16 area, enough that if we break this low here looking like 1660, check into VWAP or in front of 16 even. I want to see if I can't catch like a little bit of a rubber band bounce in front of 16 on CFVI. Like if you don't have the short up here, then you got to look for the trade that's next. And I think that 16 stands out. Previous high, consolidation break, VWAP there. Lots of reasons why you can stick along. And then you also know exactly where you're wrong. 16 breaks, and I can get out easily.
Yeah, no, Mike, I just got out there of Peloton. So, and I saw that rolling records there. Definitely have a look. Tweet those at me, the 10 Sean commandments, and I'll retweet those. Talked about don't average in and stuff, or average in only 3 times. Yeah, that's a good rule. That's what I like to do there. But definitely one thing I have to add to there is don't fight the trend. And honestly, like, this is what I've been doing. Like, I go from long to short. It's just like the wrong way both times. So we haven't read Peloton very good, but you are approaching VWAP right now on Peloton. So maybe that's going to give me some sort of a short now. For that, we'll go one more time on this into that $30 level. So that's that. We're going to take one more time here into Peloton. I'm starting to make more of a mess than this than even Facebook was. So yeah, short. Like, again, we have some outs here. It's not a problem. It's just like trying to find a win. And then I also understand what you're saying there, Mike. And this is why I'm doing this for the traders. You know, the people's trader. A lot of you are on PDT. So you're not going to be able to go in and out of a funware and I do it all the time. That's why Palantir, like if you trade Palantir like I do, it's not a PDT style if you're trading like I am, right? I mean, that's too many outs right there. If you're going to do that kind of style and you only have a certain amount of trades you can make per week, just find the areas that I'm talking about and then stick an offer there somewhere. And, you know, hopefully it will work out for you. Will you give up some of the ghost on the upside? Of course. But if you like the setups and you've done your own research, then maybe get out of like 75% and just don't scalp like a maniac like I'm doing. And again, same thing kind of like here on Facebook. Like this is really just one in and then these are all out. So, you know, you got to like figure out what works for you. Obviously here, we're not on any sort of a PDT rule. So that's where it's a little different, obviously, for us. So, yep, that's what that is. Like, I already have 203 fills. So, just to give you guys a rough idea. All right, Microsoft up $2 and still going. And here's a PDT trade for you. One in. Right there for Softy, now $2 in the money. It's just bouncing off VWAP again, so 304, that's an interesting spot. I'm thinking that the NASDAQ may want to stay above today, so let's see. It's making moves here. Let's see if the NASDAQ wants to stay above. We still have this 14.6 area of concern, but if we could stay above heading into the close, that's why I'm not getting out of Softy. That's why I'm holding on to some of this Facebook trade, which is not much, but we're still going to hold on, see if it can work. Palantir, Funware still cruising. If that takes out the top, that's great. We may revisit this 330 out, but it looks pretty solid. We just bounced off 330 there, so let's go Funware. Hopefully that can go, and we'll floss it off a little bit up to 340, 345. So that's what we're looking at, but hey, man, Peloton is really the one that I've danced with today, and it's been bad, especially that out was bad. We had a good position on right there. It's too bad because we were ready to hold this. Unfortunately, it breaks 28, and it was like, I don't know, how far can we go down? The level was 28.50, so a break of 28, and we gone, but there's that wick bottom that we should have identified. Well, we did identify it, but I just didn't want to go long, and then we started building shorts, and now we're short again. So Peloton, my frustrated stock of the day.
But identifying the wick bottoms, right? Like no matter what happens when you identify a setup or something, you always make note of it because you know that's how we always try to learn and get better. And sometimes we miss them, man. Like there was a couple off the tops today that I want to get to, but I'm just happy to every now and then, like your last entry point in your last trade is not a winning trade on a stock. And on Alibaba, it's not that this will be a winner, but we stuck to our guns and I had a target out. Like I was trying to hold this for a bigger win. And the key thing is, you know, maybe it wasn't ultimately correct. But when we broke that 114, I thought all to the world we should head back in towards this 112 level between 10 and 14s. And the truth of the matter is when you find a good entry for a short, which this was, clearly we're able to use the same level multiple times, or you could just got in once and held. But you want to give the trade some room. Let it breathe. That's Arun likes to say let it breathe. I like to say you give it some room, give it some time. That's all part of the same thing. So allowing myself to do that, and then when it came back to that price level, you know, understanding that I wanted to get back in and nothing had changed about the level, it does find support and start to break out. And then making key determination. Like at that point, you're managing the trade, but the question also becomes, do I want to reverse at this level? It gave you guys the reasons here, and here, why I did not want to on Alibaba, is that's us to run. But I did also mention to you Backed, which just went, oh yeah, it's still on the New York, Neil. That's me, because it's four. If it's got 4 letters in it, then muscle memory says I type NQ, because that's how it used to be. If you trade long enough, everything on the New York Stock Exchange used to be three letters, and NASDAQ was 4. So if I see 4, I just type NQ every single time like a sucker. But BKKT just got to $6, put a bit of a reversal, and we thought it might test that high. I did think it was about to break $6. That's why I was showing you guys some of these levels up here on the 15 quarters, and then back up 660 to 670 to look for reversals there. But hey, if you want to turn off of 6 even, well, that gives me an obvious stop at 6 even, and I'm likely to try to take this trade, see if I can't get it in here. Of course, I sit on the offer now. There we go. Just got 88s to the short side, so it breaks the high, stalls at 6 even, and the first consolidation is right there at 88. So you know exactly what I'm going to do there. I'm going to go short at that first consolidation. My stop is literally at the high of the day. I'll cross up to quarters just to make sure I get a fill. You can use a market order. Actually, we talked about this last week about how we don't use market orders and have them set up, and how I should at least have one set up. I didn't do that, so I'll do that after market, but aggressive order that'll just stop out at 6 even. And what I like about the trade is, even if I get slipped, let's say 5 cents, right? That's 17 cents worth of risk, let's just say. This first consolidation down here, 570, that's what? 588 to 570, that's 17 cents. And then if you go down to 550, oh, wait a minute, that's all of a sudden a nice, good 2-to-1 style trade there. So I like the risk to reward to each of your points of support down here, and that's why. And here's the thing, it might seem like I planned that speech out. Not really. It's just you look at it enough and watch these enough and know when you're looking for the 1-to-1, 2-to-1. You just kind of know all that math, and not in your head, but just sort of quickly, intuitively, when you make those decisions over and over again. So I like the risk to reward on backed. It's still putting an upward trend in. That's why the tight stop here. I'm not averaging into it when it breaks 6, thinking, oh yeah, I can run that stop. I'll be right about the short. Just keep getting into it. No, it breaks 6. I'm gone. I'm not fighting it. And let's see what happens. It still has some strength in it, so we'll see if it can pull back in. But I got my bids all the way down to VWAP. If it takes out 550, I probably want to hold on to a bit just to see if it flushes further back into 5 even, if only because it hasn't broken 6, and 6 is such an obvious round number. DWAC got to 97 again and fails to break, so maybe 100 has to wait just a little bit longer.
Yeah, we'll take out Softy there for $1.50 as we get nervous as the futures break a little bit lower there, and Softy breaks the same level. So, oh man, we just got out at 50 something, 59 or something like that, and now it's back into the 80s. So maybe got out of the wrong one. And then of course, as the market goes down, Peloton just wants to go up. So this is the kind of day that's what we're doing. So unfortunately, the market goes down, and we're right about the direction, but we're not right about the stock again, as CFEI is coming back in a little bit. So we are expecting Funware to probably stop us out if it breaks 30. So that's just another look right now. Be careful. There's actually a lot of volume right now on Fun. There's a lot of size here. So you can play with really whatever shares you want as the market now starting to rip back to the high side. Was that Brendo? What's up?
Remark Holdings, guys, another one that's been linked to DWAC as well, back to day highs. So another volume alert there. 24% for Remark. It really hasn't, I was just checking, it really hasn't participated over the past few days, but we're back above $1 anyways, which is worth a note for Mark.
Yeah, so as you mentioned with Funware coming, CFEI coming back in, I like the dip in front of 16. I just got it at 35 here. It holds VWAP at least for now. The first consolidation is sort of obvious. That's 16.75 to 17 even, so I will take some shares out there. And then just look to see how far it can go. I'd play it by ear at that point, although I would not likely hold it through the high of the day. Speaking of highs of the day, there goes backed. So we take the trade.
Come on.
Oh my goodness, I did it again. It's just muscle memory, man. I keep typing not NASDAQ every single time. So there's that 6 even stop. Actually, no slippage at all. So I end up getting 01s out. So pretty much exactly to the risk reward, maybe just a little bit better than that. 25s and 660s. Those are the 2 levels to the upside where it could stall again. But the new one we were waiting around for, that's CFEI. I will check back in because if CFEI does make any kind of a significant bounce, sympathy side, I'm already in Fun. We're both in the Fun we're long, but DWAC we're not even in yet at any point. And I think that's why I'm not looking for a breakout like a long in DWAC because we're sitting in fund and I was looking to buy the dip in CFDI. I don't think it would make any sense to have all three of these, especially with DWAC being a high of the day break. That's why I'd be looking to fade DWAC at 100 if, in fact, it does break to the upside. Very likely, if DWAC got to 100, I'd have covered fund, assuming it also went up, and would have covered CFDI, assuming that also would have gone higher.
Yep, so we will be positive on Funware today. So there it is. Boom, does not take out the moon. But we're pretty happy with it, man. 15 cents early and then 15 cents again. So 30 cents in total on fund. So whatever kind of shares you're trading with, that's 15 cents clean. And then there's the out. But obviously, you know, we were waiting for that top. So I'm pretty happy giving up only 10 cents on the high side there for fun. So that's another name that we're going to look at there on the downside. Of course, Peloton just goes upside there. Let's find out what's happening with Palantir as it's thinking about it right now, down to 13. This could be one that you take a shot in here, up 1.28%. What time is it? 3 just now. So yeah, there is a chance that it goes. But again, look at the market, dip down, Palantir dips down, market comes back up. It's trying to go. The high is 22s right there on this move. So we do know it can get upside if it really wants to go. So that's interesting. For me, maybe like 13.20 or something. We are waiting down in here to get longer, but I don't know if that's going to happen for us or not on PLTR. One name that we wanted to look at today that we haven't was Ford. Back down to 18. So, and again, like, look at these levels. Ford comes in right away. We might have talked about this on the open show. I don't know why I wasn't bidding down here at the low of the day. I guess because I was looking at other names and not trading them very well, it looks like. But down here, 1770 or so, a couple bottoms on Ford, boom, right there to the upside with lots and lots of potential to trade with size there, right? So Ford, a nice little move back to the upside, now well off of its 50 period and making moves higher. So, wow, that VWAP bounce was good too, man, 1780. There on Ford. That probably should have got looked at, but I did not look at it. So that is that. Tesla?
It's, you know what it was with Ford? Ford had like a really great 1750 level. And sometimes,
yeah,
if one level is so good, you end up like just ignoring everything else. It's like, well, that's the price you want. So you almost, you can make a double bottom, but you're like, nah, I want to be in front of 1750. And maybe that's right, maybe that's wrong. I always find that you have to go with your read. And if the read is that good level, then most times it's going to work out for you and sometimes you miss. I want to shout out to Sia, who just said they closed their BABA. Sometimes that's what you got to do, right? Like, not every trade is going to go exactly to your target, but you got to be able to take the winners. A few people have mentioned this Seed stock up 50%. They did have earnings. It was a bit of a late mover, I want to say. There was some good volume in the morning, but a late break just now through the high of the day, although it just immediately faded back through 7 even. And possibly for this reason, here we go. Yeah, this is your daily chart on Seed. If I pull back a little further so you can see a little bit better here. But have a quick look-see at that $7 level. When this stock got, I guess, wrecked back up from 28 all the way down to 7, that's some fun math for you there. But then hold 7 consolidation until recently breaking down and then consolidating at 4. So that 7 clearly has some significance. The 50 period also ends up being at that exact same price. So to see it run, have a bit of a failed break at 7 even. This is why we always say, like, when in doubt, zoom out. Because if you're long going into this, and we talked about this with Bill and with Arun holding that trade, there usually is a point at which, well, if it fails at that price, maybe I need to be getting out. So if you have something like this to the long on a breakout or a consolidation or, I don't know, longs even up here, like sometimes you're looking for, okay, it extends to that level, it either breaks through and runs, or you get a bit of a failed break, and I have to think about where I'm taking profit. Trail out at 85, trail out at 665. A lot of times this would be, I'd be looking for a short here. The spread actually not that bad. It was just when I first looked at it like 5 to 10 cents a couple of times there, but it's tightening up a bit. But that is set up for a potential short trade. I'd have to check to see if we even have locates, but either way, Seed. When you see levels like that that just stand out on multiple time frames and an even number, that's where everyone's looking to jam and take some profit out. So you don't want to get caught in the trap there. I see DWAC pull back to 95. I see Funware. I'm giving that back to break even, that 316 on the breakout trade. But somehow, of the 3, CFDI is at least holding the consolidation. It hasn't bounced enough to give me any profit, but until it breaks that 16, I'm not getting out of this trade. It has to break 16. I have to be able to give it at least to that level.
Oh man, yeah. So Peloton. So obviously we're back into this one and making a mess of this one more time, as if it's just fun for me to do this. Yeah. So we went short there, thinking that the gig was up, but no, it's not. We'll see. We'll see. We just covered some a little bit on the downside. This hasn't been a horrible take the last time here, but again, we are short at 20, which isn't going to work. We should be short at 60, where it just went up to. So that's going to be our new out, man. Breaks through that 60, we're going to be gone. So I think it's just a matter of time when that happens, and then we will back away and be like, okay, that's enough pain for this, enough after one day here on Peloton. So let's wait to see if it does retrace at least to the 50 period, which is 29.60. So that's what we're going to have to wait for at this point. We'll put a little bit of order. We'll put a few orders, or maybe just one order near $30. Let's just do that right now. We'll put a bid near 30 in case it does crack back down below, but this is one last chance. I'm just getting frustrated with it. And I know you put in there rolling records, do not revenge trade, but unfortunately, if it's going to be 10 crack commandments, I am now violating said commandment. And those of you that are religious probably know that commandments are often broken. So let's wait to see if that one can come through or not. 30, yeah, see, it's just going to take this out. It really wants to go, man. Peloton, it's almost like, it's really stupid, actually, now that I think about this. Obviously, the trading's been pretty dumb, but I think it's stupid to sit in short on a name that we know has buyout rumors with it. So that's like not a very wise move to begin with, which is why we started the day looking long, didn't we? And then all of a sudden we've switched it. So it's like long in the way down, short on the way up. So that's really the most frustrating part for me. But whatever, we'll just keep on looking at that. Tomorrow's a new day for sure. And that's the one thing. Yeah, don't get too emotional with it. I'm not emotional on this stock. It's just frustrating because
I gotta jump in on the command.
Going back and forth. Yeah, go ahead.
It's like this is a really, really good point though. Here's the thing about like trading. You can call them commandments, whatever you want, but just sort of in the same vein. It can't be a commandment if it's not something that everybody is going to be tempted by, right? So like the whole point is like you can make up a lot of rules, but if it's the kind of thing that's like nobody has that problem in trading, then who cares? But if it's the kind of thing where it's going to tempt you, you are going to find reasons to break this rule. Whether it's revenge trading, whether it's getting anchored to a price, whether it's getting married to a specific direction. Those are the kinds of things that everybody is going to fall into that trap. First thing about it is if you can't accept the fact that it's going to happen to you at some point, then it's completely pointless to try to rectify the problem. Like, you know, that's with anything in life, really. But yeah, like I love that notion. But truth of the matter is you got to recognize that these are common things that happen to everybody. We show you all the time. We'll, you know, miss getting into a trade because we're married to one direction. Miss a reversal because it's like, oh, I decided to revenge trade it the other way. Like, look at Facebook. I mean, you have great hootering and hollering at how great the 230 break was, and I'm just sitting there staring when I get stopped out at that price and don't get the reverse. Is what it is, but I'll hit one of these.
The market is screaming.
The market's starting to go, so we'll hit that
Facebook.
because Miss V's back after a week, and I promised to do that at least once a day and did it in the morning show. I did get first look out in CFVI just there as it just bounced up to that 1680 level. It still needs to follow through, but first job is done, bouncing, and then holding consolidation in this range. Now if it can put in a higher low, well, let's zoom in so you can see better. Now if it can put in a higher low, or at least bounce again off VWAP, it has a chance to break back out of this range, and we can start thinking about, you know, whether it gets to 1730, 1740. We do have only 45 minutes, so I'd like for that to happen sooner. But as Sean just mentioned, the market's trying to get back up here. The NASDAQ, only 0.2% to the upside. But hey, if we're going to trade in a range, guess what? We have room to the top. And as long as that's the case, then we could have a nice little running market to end the day. Of course, I decided to be in these momentum names to the long side here, CFVI and Fun, and didn't pick up anything that's actually following the market.
Yeah, we're, again, look at this, guys. We've got a good one, chicken dinner winner here on this last part of Facebook as we hold the long, and it's a good one. So we made back a lot of money on Facebook today for sure. The only problem is we gave most of the money that we made, well, all of the money that we made back, we just deposited into Peloton. So that's fine. But there goes Facebook up to 229, another ripper, and great. My number one stock today is Softy, even though we got out on that dip. Again, like just damn it, like I thought the market futures were turning around, not though. And you could see here to the upside goes Microsoft still taking out that VWAP. So again, I'm just like, I have little notes here that I make all the time, and we're just, learning every single day as much as we can. What just happened to ASTR? Just dropped down. We just got a bid down there on ASTR. So this name's going crazy right here. Watch out. It's probably going to halt actually.
Again. Why did like, see, man, I should have found my way into this short and just hung on to it. Like, yeah, like, why did it not just, you know what, didn't move enough. I was going to say, why didn't it halt? It's SFR.
There it goes, yeah.
This should be a halt level now. About 430. It gets to 430 should be a halt now.
I mean, it's trying to halt. The problem is they're just taking out the offer every time it tries to halt. So there it goes. You watch. Bye-bye. See? So there it goes. Right. It wants to halt. This stock is going to halt.
I should be short.
We got whipped. I didn't even realize this all happened to us here. In and out and in and out and then in and out. Like, I don't even know. We will be negative on this name. I got way bigger fish to fry. But ASTR right now, Brendan, it's almost like something just happened again on this with the biggest size sell ever. This was bigger, but that was the halt. So back and forth there on no apparent news. Well, there is news. Just we've got to get it from Brendan at some point, which we will. So he's looking for that. But ASTR, Neil, I don't know if you made a trade there.
No, I just
that caught me by guard. I didn't even realize I had a bid out, so that's my bad.
Yeah, I mean, this is it sucks for me to be 0 for 2 on this name when obviously the shorts have been good. It looks like they're not launching today. Is likely the story there, obviously, but. Yeah, like that's one of those. You could have sat in this, and we talked about this. We just did a lesson on wick off tops, right? So for me, actually, not to have gotten back into the shorts, pretty ridiculous. I just tried like 450 on the snap back. I just looked for the first level to get defended, and once I saw a refresher at 450, I don't know. You might have seen it really quickly. I got a 49 short in front of it, and then second it broke. I just got right out. But Brendan, I think you've got the story.
I mean, there's nothing major. Apparently, on the live stream, guys, they said they're now scrubbing for the day. So they won't attempt anything again today, which might have caused that, but I mean, it doesn't seem too major.
Yeah, I think like to me, that's why I like the short in front of the 5. It gave you an obvious out. Then you can just sort of sit in it with the potential for that to happen. Obviously, the latter part has to happen. You have to actually sit in the trade. I didn't jump back into it. But yeah, we all learn our lessons here time and time again. That's what it's all about. One other name which might set up again. I don't mind going back to the well. That is now 3 times I've typed in NQ for BKKT. 1 time today I'm going to actually type in New York, which is what it is on. It put in a bit of a wick high. So we talked about 6.25 and then 660. It goes to 621 and then puts a reversal in. So back below that $6. If it consolidates or gives any shot, where's my short? Oh, I just got it. Yes, it gives any shot to hold this same level. I'm right back in short at that 6 level of consolidation. I give this one a little bit more room because now it's put in that wick high up to 625, but sometimes you go right back to the well when there's a decent setup, and I like the setup there that you had the failure at the next price indicated that we thought it could top out at, and then we're right back below that even dollar 6 level, so 95 short. CFVI is going to be retesting, so that's a new position there in backed. CFVI is going to be retesting VWAP. We break 16, I am out. Otherwise, I want to be holding this one closer to high of the day, hopefully something like 1750s or at least to 1750 to 18, somewhere in that gap I'd love to be able to get, but it's got to hold VWAP. It can't be a loser because we took some profit, but it also is running out of time to make any kind of a run back at the high of the day.
Yeah, AMD, I mean, I know you guys are talking about that. What's up to Rolling Records? What's up to everybody? KVL. Sorry, that's a stock. Who was it? Kev, I think it was. There on the chat. Everybody there. What's up, Dax? What's up, D Queen? What's up, everybody? In and out. That's what you wanted, the KVL. So, yep, good trading there. All right, so I don't know. Palantir, another one, so that's good. We'll spend the money for Palantir today. We have two red names today. That's going to be Peloton and Facebook, and those are ASTR red on too, but that wasn't real risk. So yeah, Palantir, nice move to the upside. So we're making some money there. We're making obviously some money on Softy. I wish we were still in that one as that's exploded off that one in. And yeah, people. I mean, I don't know, you're saying, am I good? Yeah, of course I'm good. Ask for likes. Sure, you got that, Rupert. Let's go to the like count right here, quick time. We have, 4,000 people watching? Yeah, 3,500. Let's hit that like. We got to get that up to 1,000 if possible. We're here all day. And I think, and that goes to the other thing too, right, is that you're seeing Neil and I sit here and trade all day. Like, this is like life of a trader. Like, we're sitting here putting on trades, and you're going to lose some days. So, when that happens to me, I hate it. And you maybe are asking because, that's not, obviously it's not usual, but at the same time, you know, this is a long battle, and I've already won the war. All we're trying to do is build on the empire right now. So that's what that is. Sometimes, you know, the sheets get cracked a little bit there, and you know, the moat gets breached. But for right now, nah, man. The empire is strong, and yeah, the moat, like, you know, around the trade.
So, okay, but
so right now,
what happened is you said empire, right? So
right.
Know, my brain went to like
Romans.
No, my brain, the Star Wars and the Death Star, man. So you said moat, and I'm like, who puts a moat around a Death Star? I'm like, the empire doesn't need a moat.
Death Star's not real.
No, it's not. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I saw it in the sky the other day.
I saw it in the Lego store. That's a really nice.
Okay,
that's
so
a really nice thing there. Did you wind up getting it, or you did? Oh, you got the Death Star.
No. I got the Super Star Destroyer, which is like this.
Yeah.
But I want the Death Star. My wife just doesn't think I should get the Death Star. But the next thing I'm getting is actually not the new Millennium Falcon, but like there's a Millennium Falcon, like the one that's like, I don't know, like maybe 1.5 feet like this way. It's pretty solid. But I want that before I get the Death Star. I'm into Lego, by the way. In case you don't know, I'm Neil. I like Star Wars. I like Lego. You're gonna have to deal with it. It's just one of my things.
Yeah, we got some sick Lego. We got the Home Alone Lego thing, and then my kids are crushing. Yeah, I know, that's the best. Yeah. I think I like it. And the kids are crushing Legos every day, and Harry Potter ones, and then there's some new.
We just got that for my nephew.
Yeah, there's
the Harry Potter. Like I'm telling you,
some new kids ones.
So
I want to get. I've been to the Coliseum, and that's a sick one as well. But that's like 9,000 pieces, which I think is the same as. No, the Coliseum I think is a lot more. The Home Alone I think is 4,000. Maybe the Coliseum's 9,000. I don't know. Anyways, okay. Let's just move on here from this. So we just did a reload on Peloton, or did we? Yes, we did not actually. It came close to a reload up there, and we didn't get it. So Peloton right there, up to 3. Why didn't I get that? I was waiting at 47 there. Oh, it went to 48. Yeah, that is strange. Maybe. I don't know why I didn't get that, but okay. Peloton right there. We're going to try to go short again on this name and then give it to that closing spot. Like I said, man, revenge trading is definitely on right now for me with Peloton. I'm surprised. How did I not get that 47, by the way, when it went to 48? Strange times. I might just cancel that and see what happens moving forward now. But now we have to hold out on Peloton. I was trying to get the reload up there on the short and again, missed it. So not sure what happened there. I'm going to wait for 50s now to get that one. Facebook coming back in. So this is one that I've sat there and debated possibly. That sucks that I didn't get that. Wow, now it's coming right back in. That sucks that we didn't get, the Facebook didn't take out VWAP there, 228.80. A spot, but again, we are $3-4 in the money on this one, and probably just going to hold it to see what it does into the day. We only have like 5% of this position left. Still good. I mean, it still helps out my net, that's for sure. But for right now, that's fading in a little bit. What's the NASDAQ doing? Trying to bounce. So maybe we'll have to go back to Microsoft and try to pick something up right now as that's bouncing around around its 50 period as well. Yeah, all is good here. We may do a Microsoft. It sucks we didn't get that short there at 47 on Peloton. I thought I got it, to be honest with you. We missed out on that one, but Peloton bouncing around and look into the short here. So yeah, I mean, we're only out of like 10% up here. Hopefully this can continue to fall back down. Very, very much in trouble here on this. It needs to take this out, 29.90, and then we fall on Peloton. But until that happens, all of these shorts are just getting cooked up right now. Normally it's me flipping the barbecues, but today we're like in a little bit of a zone here. Yeah, it's too cold to barbecue, but maybe not. It's getting close to barbecue time.
I know for you it's always barbecue weather. For me, maybe not. But we're having Sloppy Joe's tonight, which I just remember that now. I don't know why when you said barbecue, I thought that
we're having fish and chips, which
what's
not
wrong
a barbecue. Not a barbecue.
Oh, I know, yeah, but fish and chips are delicious. So I'm gonna do this for.
Screw you, Peloton.
I'll hit this key for CFDI. One bounce. Now it's gonna be a flat trade because it breaks 16. It was Jose, I think, or Soze in the chat, asking how long it takes to put that Star Destroyer together. So the story is, I bought it off a collector who was selling a bunch of stuff. I guess during COVID, he was selling a bunch of his stuff at good prices, so I bought it then. And I have not disassembled it because my promise to my brothers and my nephew was that we would put it together all together. But because of COVID, they have not been able to come visit me. So I've been waiting for like 2 years to put it together just so I can do it with my family because it's been like, it's our thing. Like we throw a Star Wars movie on and do it. So anyways, I actually don't know how long it's gonna take. My guess is a very, very long time because there's a crap ton of pieces, but it's a heck of a lot of fun. BKKT, we said we'd give it to the, damn it, I typed NASDAQ again. I said I'd give it back to that recent high of the day on the last short. I put the wick off top, consolidated at 610, so I got some more shares to get my price to what? Exactly $6, and then I'll give it to the high and then see if it can't retrace back in. So it's just playing the setup once again on this name. And Funware, the last of the breakout trade. It hasn't broken 315, but it feels like it's a matter of time. I wanted to see it break that high of the day, take out 350. At this point, if it goes higher, I'll get out in front of the high of the day. And if it breaks 315, I'm just going to be out of this one altogether. Looks like Fun is running out of steam, but let's remember, like it's still in the midst on the daily. If I'll zoom in for you guys here, like this is still a pretty solid bounce off $2, breaking back out, and like that 337 that we pointed out when we're doing the trade review, like that's still valid for a break tomorrow. We're holding above $3. We're holding above the 50 period. It's still in the midst of a break. Maybe it does have to have a day of pulling back in, but this thing holds 285 again tomorrow, and it's 285 again tomorrow, and it's still looking relatively bullish, right? So that 285 is going to be pretty key for support tomorrow, maybe even $3, and then we're looking for 337 to eventually break. So sometimes it doesn't happen that day. Don't throw it away. Like come back and look at this stock tomorrow. The volume's going to be there. You know that. It's done 100 million shares plus.
I'm trying to like mean mug Peloton right now. Like if I send like the negative feelings to Peloton, then it will come back down. So that's sort of what I'm trying to do right now and get this going. It worked last week for something. I can't remember what it was. We were cheering something on and it worked. But for Peloton, it's somewhat working right now. Unfortunately, we didn't get that reload though, like we were looking for. And I almost got like things were almost thrown around here because like this wick right there, it didn't fill us. Again, it wicked all the way down to 10, didn't fill because I was waiting at 6. So then when it came back down, I got some 15s there, and then we got some 10s again. So that did wind up filling a little bit here. So, and it's just crazy because like I'm short here at 21s, whatever the heck I'm short on, 21s, and it can't even go down, like it can't even go down 20 cents. Has no problem with me like, and Arun talked about like going, losing your hair trading here. Like, I mean, you want to talk about nervousness? Like, I don't know. It's a matter of like it's money, like real money we're talking about here. Just like you guys, you put on trades, and it's like it matters what happens to the trades. So like I'm trying to cash out here, guys. And Peloton just doesn't want to go to the downside. Like, what is going on? I still think it breaks. I still think this thing breaks to the downside, and then we get some of these fills, man. 29, like I'm waiting at 30 even, and then I'm waiting at 70s. Like I really think this goes down, and then I don't even have any more bids all the way to the downside. But again, don't let my hatred for said stock right now, when I was looking long in the first place, that's really all that it is. It's not, it's actually trading really well. It's battling off the 50 period moving averages here. Peloton's done good. It's just, I'm fighting this thing all the way. And it just sucks because we were long initially, and now we're fighting the short. So that's, the real disappointing thing for me. Palantir, again, another out though, right there. We'll take that at VWAP. Now we're almost out of all of the Palantir, as we only had 326 already. Like, wow. I'm surprised where this day has gone. I've just sat here fighting all afternoon. Check out Funware again. So a good out, I think, anyways, at 330. It does go down as low as 320-ish, maybe 318 on that wick. Funware maybe setting up for another go. I don't blame you if you take this 342. I think this is going to be a post-market squoze to the upside there.
Oh,
shout out to Trader Prad for the squoze comment. What was that? We had a saying for the post-market.
I know, and it's like I forgot all about squoze today.
What was it? It rhymed with squoze, but it was like a post-market squoze. Crap.
We'll think of it.
Yeah. Shout out to
you laughed, so Tim's laughing at us on the board there. And that's fine.
Squoze is a word.
Tim, you're young. We're old. We forget this stuff. Squoze is a word. We had a whole thing about it last week, and it's like
I don't know. I got to find out how young
immediately
Tim is.
forget.
I don't know. We're gonna find out because it's going to affect.
Tim's got a great flow, by the way. I'm just gonna throw that one out there because when you only got the short. You guys can put yourself on camera if you want. There's no camera.
That's right. We took it away.
That's right. Okay, anyways, Tim and Lucas are on the 1s and 2s. You can't see, but Tim's got a good flow.
If you have a flowing mane, you are no longer allowed on the show.
I know. Brendan's showing us up.
Well, screw that.
I got the gray coming. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Rob, Randy, us, Arun.
All going.
Fine. You know what? F this. I'll make an exception. Brendan can still come back on the show. So let's just do that. People like Brendan.
We need Brendan, man.
Why not? Let's throw Brendan on right now. Let's have a look at that wonderful new haircut and great shirt that he has. I like the red that he has. Let's see the red there. Yeah, look at that red there. Yeah, look at that. It's the nice shirt. He's got everything going. Look at it. He knows what's good. That's the thing, Neil.
He's the kind of dude that he's probably got like cufflinks on right now, chilling, that you would never even see.
I do not.
Like,
You know, I hate Brendan, actually. Let's call it like
and
it
you
is.
never see, he's always in kick-ass shoes, too. That's the other thing, his shoe game is on point, even though you never see them. It's like he could be wearing shorts for all you know. It's just, trust me, he wouldn't be. He's dressed to the nines. Speaking of which,
I mean, Mike just sent me $400 Air Jordans.
You gotta.
So
what?
I mean,
well, you can't wear
the
those
shoe
in this
game.
weather.
The shoe game is tight over here too, my friend.
It ain't for me, man. I'm just like, I'm lazy and whatever's comfortable, because that's how I roll. But yeah, we're having a little bit of fun here.
Aren't we all?
Brendan is classy, man. He really is, guys. But anyways, back to trading. While it looked like we were going to try to move upside, this isn't that funny in the market. I know, right turn once again. We get to like an even level in the NASDAQ, goes to 14.7. And then poop, it just goes to the downside. Hopefully that's good for your Peloton. I don't think it matters for backed.
It doesn't matter for shit for Peloton.
Which I actually just typed into NY. I'm smiling because I typed in NY, but it's back below that 6 even. I'm actually not bidding till it gets to the mid 80s here. So first bid is pretty close. Then we can ring the Reggie. Then I'm looking for a VWAP retracement on backed. I'm gonna have to get out of this Zila at some point, but it's not really doing anything, so who cares? I'll probably hold it into like 340 or so, something like that. And DWAC, which never gave us the move, well, that's on NASDAQ, Neil, never gave us the move to 100, that just rolled over as well. So at the same time the market came back, whoa, that just got out of control on DWAC. What the heck was that? Like DWAC had gone $1, and then I flipped the stock, went another $1.50.
Yeah,
like the bid is just falling, like backed. Everything sort of, fun just stopped me out, break even 315 on this candle in DWAC, whatever the heck that was. I wish I was short that.
Oh, man, there it is. So finally, Peloton. I mean, are we finally going to be done this name? There it goes. What is going on with Peloton, too? We are reversed into the long finally here, more by mistake than anything else. We'll see where it goes now. We're finally long into Peloton. Maybe there is some story here now as it's starting to go ham right here. Maybe we make it back on a long here for Peloton. So that's starting to go upside now as it's getting real juicy right here. It feels like there might have been some stories here with Peloton as it's starting to go upside. So let's wait to see if there is something here with Peloton. 31, 32, 33. We're long now finally on a 30-50 break. Enough is enough, and there it goes now. Peloton rocking to the upside. Let's get some more out here if we can. Why not, man? There it is through 17. Now it's going. So I feel like something's happened to Peloton right here. The biggest volume spike of the day right now happening on Peloton, and it's a bid side. So that's why we talked about, the risk in being short this name. Obviously, don't look at me. I've been getting killed on this name all today, but I bet you there's some kind of at least a rumor flying around right now, thus spiking this move, Brendan.
So it looks like, a couple of people just posting a note from an analyst suggesting that if Amazon does come up with a deal, Apple would essentially be, or at least an offer, Apple would essentially be forced into at least matching or trying to come up with something as well. But that was from Bloomberg, guys.
So, I want to be happy that backed is starting to reverse, but DWAC is just getting crazy. It just went $8 to the downside. I'm waiting around for $100 on this thing, and then this happened. So, you talk about capitulation. That's what capitulation looks like. If you've ever wondered what capitulation is, when a level breaks and the bid literally evaporates, that's what we're looking at. I am in backed. Unfortunately, that is not necessarily moving quite as much, but it did give me my first target at least, as it looks like it's headed back to the downside. I think it's just simple sympathy. Like you have some of these runners, when DWAC rolled over, this just started grinding a little bit lower. At the same moment, Funware, which was holding the breakout price, that just cracked that 315. It's loading, yet the number is going down. 25, 24, 23. Seriously? 22? Is that even going to come back? Maybe go to Sean. Is my chart that is loading, and it's going like down. It's counting down.
Yeah, I have Funware right here. Yeah, it's because you did the NZ thing. I know it's stupid.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Change another chart, and then it'll be better. Just try to like hit enter on another one. Okay, so 304, 305. Obviously, this is dipped down. Trying to get some buys into this area right now for fun. So as one goes, they all do. We can check out CFVI as well as Peloton. We're just going to hold that at this point. Whatever. Yeah, there's CFVI puking downside. Maybe, I mean, it could have been something to do with Rogan as well. I don't know. I don't think he's going to answer that letter until at least Spotify comes up with a plan there for that as well. But we do know that Joe Rogan is loved and followed, so that's the spike up in CFVI here now. And I don't know, there is obviously this move down right now into some of these areas. I like CFVI. I actually like the fact that they throw that letter to Rogan. I mean, why not? Try to poach talent.
Shoot your shot, man.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, try to poach talent away, man. Like, I don't see any problem whatsoever with that. So we'll see what happens now as that's coming back in. I like CFVI better than all of them just for that reason now. So I don't know. I'll get long in my own account a little later. I want to do some more work on this one as this is still a SPAC. The SPACs have been so sucky.
Yeah. I think, well, part of the risk, though, is like if Rogan says, someone said this in the chat and they're right about it, if Rogan were to come out saying, I have no interest in moving, like that's the move, like that news is going to spike you through some stops. So you might get taken out on that kind of a move. But DWAC just came all the way down to the morning breakout at 86. And I mean, obviously the low of the day sits here at 85.60. At some point, it's 3:30. There's still time on the clock. Like that's, like, I don't see anything specific to DWAC here. Why can't, now I'm chasing the long, like seriously?
Yeah, it's just going to go right back up, man. I mean,
so I just finally got filled here, and 85 is already on the bid. And I was just about to say, I'm like, I'll defend 85, and if it breaks 85, we'll just get out. And that was at 86. I was trying to get 86s, and I'm chasing it to almost 87. But just like from a risk to reward standpoint, like look at how far this could come back. Consolidation was just at 89.5. If 85 can somehow manage to hold, I'll say to myself, that's got to work. But I did break a rule chasing this about an extra 50 to 60 cents. Which does skew the risk to reward a little bit. I just feel like, come on, like give me a break. You couldn't find a bottom. Let's see if we can't get back to like 88, 89, something like that. You don't need to have necessarily a huge home run. There we go on DWAC. Come on, give me a little something there. I should be taking, this is the thing. Even though I didn't get in at 86, I got an 86.70. I always treat it, my entry should have been at 86. So don't treat the trade where you got it. Treat the trade for the setup, which is an 86 entry. So even if I have a bad price, I would be taking some out here midway between 85 and 90, which is at 87.5. So I can't ignore the fact that I got a bad entry price. It's 85 to 90, and the mid-range is my first out, and then the consolidation is my top. So I have to stick to that rule. So when I get the rest out in front of hopefully 90, it's just like, that's insane, right? Like I don't, like seeing a drop like that, there's got to be buyers that are going to step into it. That was entirely too crazy. The only way you're getting that short, by the way, you're either sitting in it the whole day or you have a stop breakdown in like 95 on DWAC, which I almost never do that style of a trade on a DWAC. Would have worked out like gangbusters today, though.
Yeah, so we're back in it. We're being pretty serious right now. I actually have 10 times the shares that I had before on Funware. So let's go. Like, if we get smacked out of this one at 3, we get smacked out at 3. I don't know what else to do right now other than see if it wants to hold. And we could get hit. So again, notice the strategy here. I just said 10 times the shares. It's 10 times the shares of this trade because this one we didn't have a bottom. We had to hold it all the way back here. I'm pretty confident that the bottom is right here on DWAC 3. So on Fun. If 3 gets taken out one more time, then we'll punch out and hopefully hit it. The real bottom is like 96, 97. This is well worth the risk to reward profile for me now on on Fun. I keep saying DWAC. We just took a little piece out at 7 off of an 03 long there. So we'll wait to see what happens as we're getting filled longer back in here at 02s. We'll see if that wants to fill up. But right now, DWAC moving, Funware trying to go, CFVI, another exciting name here, trying to go as well. CFVI, it bottomed out at what, 15? So it's still there. So all these names right now bottoming out and hanging out. So if you want to take a shot on any of these, there's some real key levels showing up here. So like 15, easy. $3, easy. So let's see what happens right now. I'm excited for an upward move, but hey, are we going to get it? Let's just wait to see here as it's just bouncing around. Again, if Brendan sees something, he'll come with it. So you're in the right spot if you're looking for news.
Yeah, there's some like real selling actually just going on now. Like DWAC was about to get to, like, looked for all the world like it was about to break back up to 90s. And then a seller just jumped in here at 88. It broke a couple of times. They just threw it right back on the offer at 88. They've held it multiple times now. I put an offer in like just to sort of like go right in front of it at 97. I'm actually going to cancel that now because the second I threw it in, it's like, okay, anyone offers in front of 88, then someone just jumped in and market sold it. And the next thing you know, 87 was back on the bid. So I don't want to be giving this next trade all the way back into 85. I think if it breaks 86, I'm just, actually, forget that. Maybe even 86.50. I'm just going to get out of it and then see if we can't regroup down at 85 because that was a heck of a lot of selling. So I've moved my stop to this level. 86.5 held several times. That's basically where my price is, but you can see, like for the last 4 or 5 minutes, it's been trying to hold this. And I didn't want to get caught, like holding it all the way back in 85. If that's going to be the low, then I'll go long in front of the low. We still have 20 minutes to go in the day, so there is time for a few trades in here. Backed is now leveled off at $6. Got to watch that out of the corner of my eye. But DWAC, 85. Wow, that just broke quick time. Before I could even get a long. Like my stop triggered and put me short on an 85 break because I was about to put the long in, and it broke like that.
Yeah, we're going to do the same thing here on Fun. We could watch it.
That's a fluke win.
We could just watch it here on $3. There it is. There we go. So we're out. So pretty good, actually. You know, we'll flush ourselves down the toilet as it goes down, but honestly, that was, for me, that was well worth the risk. It doesn't really hurt our net that much, but I thought that was well worth the risk. And like I said, sometimes you take shots at that. Like that $3 level looked pretty good to me, so that's what we took a shot at right there. Did not work out, though. What's up, Brendan?
So, I mean, the overall market's selling off pretty hard here as well, guys, but a lot of people circulating a note on Twitter from last Thursday from the CEO, Nunez, suggesting that it's going to be the end of March now before the launch. So again, the date was last Thursday, but a lot of people seem to be pointing towards that as the cause right now. But as I said, the overall market selling off pretty hard as well.
So someone's asking why catching a falling knife. To me, when you see a move like this on news or any kind of parabolic mover, you know, trying to catch that, unless you have the first consolidation short, right? Like at that point, when it breaks down again, like what's the trades that you can structure there? Oftentimes, it's just going to be a long off the bottom. And look, it ends up working out. And like I said, you know, sort of reading the room and seeing that selling that really started to come in at 88, that's going to get me out of it for a winning trade, right? So we take the scalp win, and then we get out tight stop instead of 85. Now, obviously, I could have held that reversal, but I didn't mean to actually get the 85 short. I had pulled back I'd moved my stop on the long and actually left in my 85 stop thinking I would just go long again at like 85.10 or 85.05 or something really tight to 85 even. Before I could even get the bid in, I was already short and then just got out right away. That's a complete fluke win. I'm just hitting bid out instantly because I didn't intend on that trade, so I'm not trying to hold it. Yes, it would work out, but guess what? If you hold every trade that you don't mean to get or you get accidentally or you keystroke into, it's going to be wrong more often than not. So I say always get out. And speaking of finding bottoms, this is now getting out of hand. It just hit 81s and then back to 85 on the next candle. That's why sometimes you want to catch a falling sword there. I'll be happy to have walked away from this not losing on DWAC because that could have gone easily the other way. Crazy, crazy action at the end of the day. And the entire time, this backed on the New York Stock Exchange has yet to really roll over. This could be it here, but it's now 341. Running out of time, got to be flat at the end of the day. I'll probably have to get more shares out somewhere in the 70 or 80 range if it doesn't want to roll over. My average price was 6, by the way. It'll say 05 now because I got more shares up here at 10s, but my average price was essentially 6. So I am looking for it to break 580 and head to VWAP.
Okay, yeah, Peloton fell all the way back down, so no surprise on that one as we tried. And again, we were in and out here. I mean, this is just a mess. We'll take another long here off the 50 period and off VWAP here. But yeah, 341 right now. So we have a little bit of time left before the imbalances come out. Obviously, if this breaks through 30, then we're gone. But like, I don't know how that story rockets it up and then just drops right back down again. So we're able to take some profit and then got out for flat. So the long was actually fine for us, but now we'll see if the long is fine. Doesn't look like it wants to be. Long at 6. There it goes. I was going to say long at 16. And there we go, breaking to the downside one more time there on Peloton. So yeah, I don't know if we just got bottom. I mean, these are some pretty nice bottom. That's on Funware. Those are some pretty nice bottom wicks. We are back long on Funware, but let's just look at Peloton right there. Yeah, so we just got out. Let's just stay alone from this one. There's only now 18 minutes left. We're probably going to wind up being right on the long, but whatever, man. Let's just let this one settle and get the hell away from Peloton. Has been a nightmare for me here today. All right, so Palantir, getting ready to get out of this one as it comes back down. We might as well cancel some of our bids. We were bidding down here 95s, but we'll just get out of that and wait for this to see what happens on the imbalance. Not a big position at all. Okay, Funware, I see. So now we're almost back to flat on this stock, losing, what we did on that and just holding out for these wins. Back to the upside now as we're back into an oversized position one more time on PHUN. And again, just thinking that, hey, maybe we get, damn it. Like I say, maybe we get back going. Like, can we get back here to 20s? Can we get back in the 25 area for PHUN again? Looks like the bottom is looming on this name, so watch out for that. Other than that, man, like not much going on right now. So that's what I'm looking for, and hopefully you guys have some better longs than I do. What about AMD? Oh, yike. Down to 124. Clapped, yeah, some of these names are getting clapped right now, guys. Like all the way back down to these levels. And again, a good reload spot right now. But look at the NASDAQ has made its move to the downside. So with only now 6 minutes left, where is the imbalance going? It looks like it's going to be a south side imbalance, but a nice move down on the NASDAQ. And again, hard to make money when you're sitting in longs and the market is trying to take out day's low. So just watch out here. The NASDAQ, that sucks, man. I thought we'd stay green today. Doesn't look like it wants to. Meta is still in the money for me. And again, it's a small trade, but again, maybe if we take out that 50 period, it's good to go. Right now, you can throw these lines out of the garbage because you do have a little bit of more time here. People are going to empty their positions. I think we could buy Meta here. This is the third day, so I bought some today. Let's see what happens to Facebook in the next week or so. That either tests, 200. Like that's disgusting if it tests that low. But we'll put our money where our mouth is and buy more Meta on the third day.
And so, like a lot of people asking in the chat are talking about DWAC. Look, obviously, with only 15 minutes to go, we're done for the day. We're day trading here. But even I probably wouldn't even want to make another trade in DWAC. I think after a move like that, it might not make a ton of sense. That initial move gave you some volatility to take advantage of, but after that, no need to fight it. At this point, I might be down to backed or nothing. I just got another target at 580. I moved it up because it's 345. It still has a chance to get all the way to VWAP there, and I'll get it all out in front of that 560, but I want to try to hold on to it to the downside as it looks like it's rolling over. This is one of those bank error in your favor type of thing because like the market's rolling over and selling everything off. And let's be real, like backed was not working for me until that happened. And even then it's only a muted win. So risk to reward, the short was there off of the level, but sometimes it doesn't get going until you get something in your favor. And a lot of times that can be how things play off the levels. You should call a couple of names up there, Sean. I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to go bottom picking, but there's 15 minutes left in the day. So I don't like anything at these lows because the problem with trying to bottom pick is there needs to be time for it to work for you, right? So when DWAC is going crazy, you bottom pick because it's gone so far so fast that there's actual upside in any kind of a bounce. But something like PayPal, which is screaming to the downside here, like even if you like a 120 level, we're just not usually taking this trade. But if you go back to last week, that's that wick bottom here at 121. If this same move were to happen, like this kind of parabolic move down, I might be looking to snap a bit up on something like a PayPal for the day trade. But that just hasn't happened. From a longer term on PayPal, because I have it up and we're talking about it, one of the things I mentioned last week, or maybe even I mentioned it this morning, was a lot of these names that got beat up on earnings with these recent monster drops down. They need to break back out of that first level of consolidation. And PayPal hasn't made a bottom. And either it's going to make an obvious bottom at like a 120 or 100 or something you find in the daily, or it's just going to make a random turn and break back out above this 134, 135. And for like a short-term trader or a day trader or whatever it might be, sometimes allowing it to retake one of these levels and fill in a gap is the easier trade. If you have to wait around for it, sometimes it's just worth it, because I remember waiting around for Lucid to make that gap fill a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was last week. Either way, that was worth it at the end of the day, and maybe that's going to be the same case. I look at PayPal, Facebook could have levels like that at some point, but these are not breaking that. Like, it's not just that we gap down here, it's not breaking that trend. Like, you're seeing lower highs being put on by some of these stocks, which tells you about what's going on to them. So instead of guessing at where the turn is going to be, sometimes you just let it consolidate wherever it does and then play the breakout. And it doesn't look like that's really breaking out till 130, 135, which is now like 10% away on PayPal. So it's going to take a while to get there.
I'd say so. PayPal's a great call. PayPal is one of those names that obviously continues to get like beat down pretty heavily every day. But good call. Square, another name that we like to look at as well. 348 right now, man, and the imbalances are getting ready to rock and roll here.
Square's at 102.
To come out, yeah, Square's at 102, as Neil just saying there. So watch out for that one. I guess I can cancel my Facebook buy. We'll see if that can come through right now. And again, we only have a minute and a half right now until the imbalances. So we'll wait to see what happens when those things come out. Hopefully to the, well, I don't really have a preference. Hopefully to the upside, as Facebook is going to be put into look at that one as well. So watch out for Facebook coming to the downside, or sorry, to the upside if it does blow out up there. So Peloton, of course, now goes back down. Wow, what a nasty stock that's been. We can check out Funware. We tried that again a little bit here, just around 3, just dancing, not doing anything. So we'll miss it. Yeah, PayPal, wow, 121 right now. Just noticing that. And did AMD breach like that, or getting close to that 120?
It's holding 124.
Yeah, 124 still holding. I was wondering how low that one got, but we are getting very, very close right now to just like destruction in the market. We're down again another 0.7. We could take out the bottom of the day here on a bad number coming through. So watch out to see what happens in less than a minute. Crypto giving back some as well. But, or is it really, actually? I thought maybe it was, but no, it's not.
My chart's frozen.
My bad. Yeah, maybe my chart's frozen right there.
Mine is.
No, it still looks like it's 44. So still in that, yeah, so 44 right on the knot. So good day here for BTC as well. Only 30 seconds till this imbalance, guys.
Yeah, and just one last thing. So Square's at 102. Remember, that was a good level, double bottom a couple weeks ago. But remember, it also made a double bottom at 100. So Square block, I should be saying, block at 100. Looks like it might get tested. If 102 goes here today, obviously that's a significant, because it's at higher low, it's at other level of support. But 100, that stands out like a sore thumb. There's no way we're not trading off 100 tomorrow if it gets to that price. I think it works in either direction. But imbalance is about to drop. Oh, it would be nice if they're to buy slab, but it doesn't seem that likely.
No, we'll see. Oops, shoot, I don't even have the imbalances up for you right now. We will see right now what's going on. Zynga with a bid, Intel with a bid. It looks like they are buys right now. Buy. So a lot of buys happening right here. Softy with a sell, Ford with a buy. We could just take a look here quickly on the 1-minute chart. Microsoft dancing right here, not really going down. Pfizer, Uber, Facebook with a sell as well. So let's see what happens here with this market, guys. It looks like it's just a mixed result.
Yeah, I mean, just one of the buy names there, Uber, if it'll load up there. Not much of a move. That's not the best sign. $1 million on Uber when we just bottomed out here at 37.50. I would have thought it would at least get back into 37.80, maybe into VWAP on an imbalance like that. But it still feels relatively weak, despite there being more buys and sells from what I can tell. But for the rest of those names that we were just watching, like, have a look at Fun there. Like, wow, like that. It's given it all back, but, I mean, at least temporarily, that 285 level has been trying to hold. So that's like that last line in the sand. And it's the same thing with DWAC. Like, there hasn't been too much of a bounce. It's now holding 83s, which popped to the 15, because when it moves that much, you got to zoom out, right? So it bounces at 83 now. But that 80 bottom, like, look at that from last week. Like, that was the last line of support before you got that breakout that we just saw. So crazy movement in all these three of these related names. Look, CFDI is going to show you pretty much exactly the same thing, but this market at least managed to bounce off the lows. That's about the only thing I can say. This is the NASDAQ. It actually held the low of the day temporarily, so 14.55. Trying to hold up here in the NASDAQ. If we breach that, in the last few minutes of the day, we might have a little bit of a downward run into 4 o'clock.
Yeah, this is really affecting Facebook here. A big sell there. It's only 600,000 shares, so into 80 million. I was not honestly expecting this kind of a play here on Facebook, as it just getting cracked back down to the day's low. So there could be more pain coming for FB here. I'm just holding this. Like, this is honestly a no-brainer for me, right? I mean, it's not a big position. I was just holding it to see what was happening and did not expect this one to come all the way back in right now. So Facebook absolutely getting destroyed off of here. So watch out. To the downside goes Facebook right now. We did short the market, which has been turned out pretty good. So we shorted the SPY here as that's starting to go back to the downside. So we'll make out a little bit of, we'll make out with a little bit of money here on the SPY into the auction. So, well, I don't know. I don't even have my key set up for that. So we'll wait to see what happens. But Facebook, wow, right back to day's low. This is unbelievable right here.
Tesla just broke low a day too.
I mean, I was not expecting this for the NASDAQ. So this is like kind of a big surprise here, as my spider's position is definitely getting elevated right here.
Yeah, I mean, oh my goodness, why not? That just made all the sense in the world. I love that short trade. We broke that low of the day. Here's Tesla breaking the lows. Not really at 900 yet, but I'm going to be looking at Tesla, probably some square going into the end of the day. I want to see, like I already wrote down square 100 with an exclamation mark for tomorrow's trade. So I would like to see what happens going into this level. Like, what would be fantastic if it catches any kind of a bounce here off of this, and maybe not breaking that 100 going into the close would be fantastic. DWAC holding at 83 even. Wild last end of the day here. It's crazy to see. Like, it felt like, and I could be 100% wrong about this, maybe it's because I was watching DWAC, but I feel like things actually, this is weird to say, accelerated when DWAC broke that low. I don't know if that's right, but I didn't notice that we were really starting to fade on the overall market until that capitulation candle came in at DWAC. Maybe that's entirely coincidence, but insane. We'll be looking at some of these key bids tomorrow that I didn't think were going to come back into play. Like, Square bounced off 100, went to 130, and we're already talking about a retracement into that level again here today. 900 on Tesla could come through once again as well. We already talked 124 on AMD. These are the levels we were bouncing off previously, and the one that I didn't short today, which is of course ridiculous, Affirm, almost back to 60 even, so went to 62. Like, so many of these names are right back to some key levels, and we still have some earnings to get to. Brendo?
Okay, a few minutes to go here. A crazy rug pull on a lot of these into the close here. Let's get you updated if you are concerned about some earnings. Here we go, aftermarket tonight and coming up tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just glad Rob didn't fall right there. That was nervous times there. I'm sure he's completely fine. Simon Property Groups, we talked about that. I really love that name. That's a name that I'm long. What up to Daryl as well. We're pretty much in that name at those bottoms, so we'll watch out to see if they have anything good to say. BP is an interesting name there, so we'll check out BP, as energy's been obviously in play. So British Petroleum, a big name there in the middle. That's that green logo. I like that logo, actually. So shout out to that. And then other than that, KKR.
I mean, obviously Pfizer, just because.
Yeah, if you're interested in that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a vaccine type name, and it's had some recent volatility. It's probably going to be interesting. Like the other one that we said from the morning show, I know it's not always sexy, but Hog tends to have decent moves off earnings, so it'll be on the list to watch. I just like Pfizer for possible trade tomorrow, just because of what it looks like on the chart, right? Like, if we come to my chart for a quick second here, off the board. Thanks, guys. Quickly, just Pfizer had this break at 56. We got up to that 60 level. You come right back in. You have what could be a head and shoulders. So you have an obvious possible resistance area at 55, 56, that if there was any spike into that, it gives you a pretty good level to play off of. That's what I'm kind of looking for. Then you have that 50 level on the bottom here in case you test those lows. So I love those setups because decent chance with any volatility in Pfizer, you're playing off of one of two pretty solid levels, and that's why it's going to be on my radar. Otherwise, it's just about this going into the close, guys. Here comes 14.5 on the NASDAQ, down over 1%.
Yeah, we'll go fail on that one. Thank God, man. We got a big trade there on the SPY at the end of the day. Made back a lot. I mean, honestly, yeah, this is my number one stock now. SPY now my number one stock. That's the market. There's the fade back in. I mean, look at this. Like, if the writing's not on the wall, for this futures trade here into the close, then yeah, for me, that is what that is. I think the imbalances came out of buy. We showed those, right?
They did.
They came out of buy, and sometimes the imbalances will trick you on that. So there they do. They come out of buy, and then it absolutely tanks down. We just took, like, we're short at 447.66. We just took a 445.80. So that's like $2, $1.80, $1.90 there, almost as fast as you can go, shorting the market. We're almost out of this. We're holding one last piece, but this is embarrassing. That's my number one stock. Microsoft is battling with it, so it's fine. But you could see Microsoft, doot. There's the break that happened like at 3 o'clock. You could have 304, man. You're down to 300 now on Softy. What did Facebook do? Did it hold the bottom? Yeah, it did. So frustrating stock here. We got out on a 225 break, but that didn't matter. That was only 5% of the position, so we didn't care about that. That was good. We should have got out at VWAP, but we didn't, waiting for a bid in the close. That didn't come through. But right now, Microsoft, Facebook, good trades. Today, really the worst trade for me is Peloton, as we were long and then we were short and really just got messed up on that one. So yeah, whatever. We'll sleep tight tonight and wish for some revenge there on Peloton, and I'll try to get that tomorrow if the levels are there. I think we've got today some decent ones. So with only 2 minutes left, let's just get out of this. It looks like the market's trying to rebound back up. Good trade. We're still $1 in the money on it. If we break through 447 on the SPY, we'll get out. Otherwise, let's see if there's one more dip down in the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, and now that he loves it, you know who's going to be on the bell. I'm not saying your name, Mr. Flo. I know we already talked about it, but yeah, we get the bell coming in about 2 minutes here. When you get moves like that, find some relative strength. I just noticed Tyson held up pretty well. It did come off the top, but they report earnings up 12% today. So there are some names showing at least a little bit of strength as we go into what has been an absolutely insane close. I mean, that was kind of crazy to see that happen, and just kind of going back to the names that started off, or at least kind of looked like they did, settling down here at the close. DWAC, oddly enough, it's for all of that pullback, it's flat on the day, exactly flat on the day, actually just turning a little bit red. But with 1 minute to go, I want to give a special shout out to Arun doing a fantastic job. Trader Pratt will be back tomorrow for sure. But I'll be watching. I'm kind of curious to see what DWAC does here at the actual close because of the $13 flush that it just put on in Power Hour here. What a crazy 2 hours this has been.
Yeah, for sure. And, I tell you guys when I'm positive, and today's going to be a red day. So we are going to be red on the market today, although it was a nice move back on that. So, able to make a little bit of money back there today. But it's going to be a red day, and I think a few of you, Lone Sophos there, talking about the same thing as well. And then AMC, nice little job today. We can check that out as we only have now 20 seconds to go. We'll comment on AMC when we get back. $15. It just broke to the downside. AMC down 3%. Watch out for some of those bottoms tomorrow. 14.50 as we're getting ready to do this.
There we go. We drop it. That's what I'm talking about. He's got the awesome flow. Newest member of the team. Him. 3, 2, and 1. Ring it.
And there it is. Nice close of the day.
Got the facial hair.
Yeah. He's got the hair, the facial hair.
I can't grow a good beard, man. It just doesn't work for me. It's better than mine, though.
Get a room, guys. Get a room. Okay, so Snapchat. I don't even know why we went over to Snapchat there, but not a bad battle back today. This was Snapchat, obviously. Snapchat today. I just wanted to see where we closed. We did breach that 38, so yeah, we'll wait for that tomorrow on Snapchat.
I wanted that level.
Yeah, Brendan, how did we finish up on the day?
Yeah, red. Unfortunately, crazy action there in the last hour, guys. Here we go. 0.4 for the S&P. The Dow was basically flat. It was the closest to get back to break even. The NASDAQ almost a full percent to the downside. Yeah, pretty red all the way across the board. Oil did get back under 1% there, and still positive for Ethereum and Bitcoin, guys. But it's been a long time since I've seen price action like that in the final hour of the day.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while.
Big change.
So if you told me that after last week we're going to be looking at square 100 again, I'd been like, you're nuts. Like that level, the way it bounced off that level, we're probably going to hold above for a while. Yet here we are. We're going to be testing it. Not too much in the way of earnings, but we'll be watching some of those names, Pfizer, Hog, whatever. We'll see if they end up moving. But I think it's going to be. Look,
I don't even care about the earnings.
DWAC CFEI, and Fun. If they don't move tomorrow, then whatever. They're going to be on the list, and if they don't move, then it's got to be worth it to be looking at those after what we saw at the close here.
Like all last week, the only name that I basically ignored from last week, Neo and Hood. Other than that, I'm going to still try to be on the same names, and we'll try to play momentum a little bit better tomorrow than we did today. Obviously, a big, huge shout out to Arun. I mean, we'll hope for Prad's return tomorrow, and that should be there. So, Arun, thank you so much today for the great work for 3 hours. Thank you so much for that. Thank you to, obviously, I don't think we have the camera over there, but thank you to Lucas. Thank you to Tim for sure. Thank you to Rob for continuing to work hard and getting the...
There's always someone on the line.
Yeah, exactly. Getting the studio ready. So it was Mark going crazy all Friday, Rob going crazy all today, and Randy's still on vacation. So there you go. We know who...
It's true.
Yeah, it is true. It's true. As they say, Kurt Angle, the truth. There's Rob there working. So thank you so much, guys. But hey, it's been a fantastic show, I think. Anyways, I hope you had a lot of fun. That was disappointing near the end of the day. But hey, we're back tomorrow, 8:30. New trades, new ideas, hopefully. Brendan will have a new haircut.
I will not.
No, he will not.
No.
He will not. But again, guys, thank you so much. Thanks for all the fun today. It was a great one. Stay tuned for the trade of the day on Fun. It was.
Yeah,
so have a look at that. We know things changed near the end of the day. So have a look how we were trading that early. But be back tomorrow for everybody at Trader TV Live. Thanks to Greg today for filling in as well. We're back tomorrow, 8:30, and we'll see you then. Ciao.